Yes, indeed. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome, everybody, to a Tuesday afternoon stream. It is the last Tuesday of September, actually. It is 4:25 p.m. Eastern, and I hope everyone is excited for Day 10 of Shire Adventures, Lord of the Rings role-playing Shire Adventures, most excellent fireworks. We are sponsored, as always, by Free League Publishing. Thank you to Free League for their sponsorship of this campaign, and thank you to all of the folks listening to our audio version of this. You're going to be listening to this after the video version has been live and up and available, but please make sure to spread the word, whether you're listening to this through video or audio form. And it's great to see everybody here as we continue with most excellent fireworks. Before I go any further, just a couple of reminders about ways to support us here on the channel. If you haven't done so already, please follow the channel. Please check out our YouTube with !ArvTube and sub to us over there. That is free to do, but it really does make a difference to us. So please do that. And it also allows you to get previous content, previous broadcasts of this and many other campaigns on the channel. !Arv Tweets is my Twitter account. !Arv Sky is my Blue Sky account, so you can join us at both of those things. And you can also, of course, check us out on the Discord channel, !Arv Cord, where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Website for all of that is arvanelleron.com. Financially, !Arv Shop is the merchandise area, where you can get a lot of stuff, including soon Shire Adventures, because we do have the drawing of this done. We just need to actually get the merchandise up there. So Shire Adventures coming soon, and then we've got Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks soon as well, and we already have Eberron, Oracle of War, and some other Arvan Elrond related material over on that site, which is cool swag for you and which supports the channel. Also supporting the channel is when you're able to support our Patreon with !Arvtreon and or sub to the channel. Both of those things are really helpful to the channel, give you custom sub badges, emotes to help the channel, information to send out to other people, let people know about this. Hey, what's up? What's going on, Gray David? Good to see you, man. Got any Lemba spread? Indeed. There will be some Lembas, I imagine, that may be consumed. I don't know if it'll be today's session, but soon. So anyway, yes, we have got a bunch of that coming up in terms of subbing and Patreon support. And on Friday, remember, I'll be talking more about this after this session is over. But on Friday, we have the channel's first ever subathon. We're going to be trying to push both subs and Patreon pledges. We're going to have hours of play, hopefully, starting noon Eastern on Friday. The more support that we get, the longer that we're going to go for playing Starfield. And then on Saturday, we will have a lot more stuff with starting out with Starfield and then moving on to Negocios Infernales' Carlos Hernandez and C.S.E. Cooney using prompts from that game for one of their Infernal Salons. We have a set of authors that we've begun to announce, and I'll talk more about these authors again after the session today. Very excited about that, and every pledge and sub is going to alter that event in a very cool way, so I'm very excited about that. And then we're going to have some tabletop role-playing game that night, so that's going to be a lot of fun as well, with a lot of the Eberron, Oracle of War, Infinity and Beyond crew coming up that evening. So it's going to be great. Our first ever subathon, very important for the channel. So I'm hoping that people are going to be able to pledge and support. Since it is September, it means that gift subs are cheaper. It means that if you upgrade from tier 1 to tier 2 subs, or tier 2 to tier 3 subs, that also is cheaper. Twitch will pick up the cost of that added cost, and it will be the same amount to me, so it's good either way. So all of that is going to be awesome. I can't wait, and it's happening this Friday is when it all gets started at noon Eastern. So please make sure to spread the word and let people know for our first ever subathon, which internally we are calling Arvathon or Arvatron 2023, the Arvatroning or something like that. But externally, it's a subathon. So we're very excited for that. On the publishing front, Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Library, my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment. And Greyshade, which is my Greyshade universe, which starts out with my Greyshade universe, which starts out with Greyshade, which came out last year. Renegade, the sequel, came out about a month and a half ago or so. And the final book in the series, Heretic, comes out next year. You can buy right now Greyshade and Renegade. You can pre-order Heretic, which comes out next year to conclude the Grey Assassin trilogy. You can also pre-order the tabletop role-playing game done by Brandon O'Brien. It's going to be this weekend at Big Bad Con, demoing that, so please sign up for that demo if you haven't done so already. Alley. If you want to know more about this dark fantasy with Assassin's Creed chops and a bunch of other cool stuff, that is going to be happening. So I'm very excited about that coming out from Alligator Alley Entertainment. You can pre-order that, and you can also pre-order you can also order, I should say, the audiobook done by our very own Trent Sparks of Grey Shade as well. So that's going to be super cool. Last but certainly not least, as always, exclamation point BLM. Yeah, I guess that's true, actually. June, July, August, September. Yeah, you're right. 4 months. My God. Too far ago. You're right, Original. Time is really moving along. That's true. Exclamation point BLM. Black Lives Matter. Important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Exclamation point Help Now. The World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And exclamation point Ukraine. UKRAINE. To help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage. And send the message we will do so in the future with other things as well. So, as I said, schedule-wise, we will be here today with Shire Adventures. Then once that's done, we will be... Hold on a second. I see that we have actually made some... They've been having some fun in... Okay, good. I fixed it, I think. Where was I? Schedule. So today, Lord of the Rings, Shire Adventures, and then we will be off until Friday. And Friday at noon Eastern is the subathon. So very excited for that. A lot of Starfield, a lot of tabletop role-playing, and some Infernal Salon into the bargain. It's going to be good times, and I hope you folks will be there for that. But right now, it's time to get started, so I'm going to unmute myself so the folks know we are ready to go, and then I'm going to unmute them so that our erstwhile hobbits are ready and prepared. And last but certainly not least, are you is a good question.
I guess we'll find out.
Did you say our erstwhile hobbits?
Yeah,
we're still hobbits.
Well, yeah, no, okay, fair.
We didn't used to be hobbits. I'm sorry, I've totally foiled your entrance.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I should be more consistent with it. Yes, that's true. Our once in future and absolute and continual hobbits. I mean, I think that's probably the best way to put it, not erstwhile. But it is good to see all of the Shire Adventures crew. And I will start with the person on the top left of the square, if you will. And that, of course, is Amal Elmatar, who is with us. Amal, it's good to see you. I hope you are doing okay. How is life in the universe treating you in the Great North? And actually... And I'm going to be seeing Amal in just a couple of weeks at a certain event known as CanCon. I am very excited for that, to cross back over the border once more and to be hanging out with these lovely people. So how are you doing otherwise, Amal, and who are you playing today?
I was psychically unprepared for you to say CanCon is 2 weeks away.
But right, I know, it's like, what is time?
You know this. Yeah. About CanCon is in mid-October, and mid-October is still like a month away. At least, right? So
right. This is like when I was saying I said Renegade came out like a month and a half ago. Rudinel's like, you mean 4 months ago? I'm like, that's true. Also that. Yep. Yes, indeed.
Late summer stickiness in a positive way. Anyway, yeah, things are okay. I've had a strangely beset afternoon of just realizing how much of a horrible totalitarian I am when confronted with the sight of a person smoking in front of a do not smoke sign. So I just, truly my most toxic traits are that I will become very, very snippy with someone doing that activity. Anyway, otherwise...
Instead of a soup Nazi or a smoke Nazi?
Smoke Nazi.
But, I just...
Toxic to toxic people. Literally toxic. So,
yeah. It's, oh boy. Just mad. Also, a thing that happened earlier today, I was in a hospital waiting room for reasons we don't need to discuss. And someone walked up to the desk and the attendant asked him to wear a mask. And he said, I can't. They make me suffer. And I was just like, man, I want to make you suffer. Why can't you put a mask on? But anyway, sorry, I'm carrying a lot of rage today is the answer that I have. A very rageful person.
Good.
So anyway, that aside, the weather is lovely. September has been beautiful. I am shocked it is almost over, and it's autumn now. It's autumn now. We had an equinox and everything. So yeah. I am playing Coriander Took, who is the granddaughter of Granny Lavender, and she is a um, lovely young woman who has never done a bad or wrong thing in her life. And yeah, that's where I'm leaving that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And there will be no smoking in this campaign, so you're all set about that.
Hang on.
Shire Leaf is, as far as I'm concerned, not tobacco. It is just a leaf with some properties, and it smells okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't smoke, kids.
I mean, listen, tobacco doesn't grow in Britain, and the Shire is basically Britain, right? And they grow leaf. So
Right.
everyone's smoking rosemary, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's right.
Just like,
and the hobbits, as we know, have, like second breakfast, have second lungs. So it goes into a separate smoke lung, which is just separately contained.
we all have two lungs.
Yeah, we all. No, I'm saying like a second set of lungs.
Set of lungs.
Yes, set
So
of
they're
lungs.
Klingons. They're
Second
tiny Klingons.
They're tiny Klingons.
I'm so sorry. I'm such a jerk today. Oh, a blue jay. Aw. There's like a tree there's a tree right outside of my window, and a blue jay is in it. And because the tree is losing its leaves, I can see it, and it's very bright and it's very pretty.
Although, speaking of jerks, Blue Jays do everything they can to drive off my Cardinals. So, Blue Jays can be their own jerks sometimes. But I'm sure Canadian Blue Jays are much nicer than the American kind, though.
Oh, no, they're committed to winning a war in time.
Well, yes, of course, yes. That's right. But see, I mentioned Cardinal advisedly because that way you can't take sides and be fair, right?
I guess I do also love Cardinals. There are lots of Cardinals here too. But yeah.
But I am sorry to hear that you are rage-filled, but hope that we will, allow some of the joy and comfort of being here with hobbits will hopefully calm down a little bit of that. And that's going to lead us right on to someone who didn't get the impression was filled with rage. We got the discussion of being filled with awesome new possible keyboard attempts and things like that in the green room. Of course, I'm talking about Brad Bollier. It's good to see you, Brad. How's life in the universe with you? How are you doing, and who are you playing today?
Things are good. My wife works at a 4K, and my kids are in school. And so like now that school has begun again, every, I don't know, month and a half or so throughout the school year, something sweeps through the house, and it has. So here it is with me, just throat things. So far.
I know the feeling. I'm trying to get rid of mine from a month ago. Yes, same.
Yeah.
Started with my 7-year-old.
But beyond that, so I'm in the lead up to publishing is so funny. Like when a book comes out, there's all this fanfare and stuff. But for the author, that thing is pretty old, at that point, and so. I am gearing up for the release of the Dragons of Deepwood Fen, new epic fantasy, all kinds of dragons. Here there be dragons, as we said earlier.
You're welcome. I expect alimonies.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have to attribute that to Shire in the credits.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'm in the thick of the early going of book 2, and so by the time the book actually comes out, I won't have the draft done, but I'll be nearing the end. It will be in sight at that point, So it's funny, you have to sort of shift gears, bring your mind back to the other book, become excited about it all over again, and then do the thing for a while, and then get back to business. So yeah, I'm kind of gearing up, spreading the word a bit, just heads down writing in the meantime as much as I can. And so that's going on in the background, but in the foreground we have a game, and I am playing Caloran Fallowhide, who is a messenger. He is also a budding map maker and musician who is on the hunt for some fireworks, as I recall.
That is correct, and whose map may make it a little bit easier to mitigate some of the effects of what might be a little bit of rain, just a touch, not any big, huge, massive storm that could cause problems, of course, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. Bottom left of the square, always a pleasure to have Brad with us. Bottom left of the square, of course, is the inimitable Tari Toons, who is responsible for much of the art that you are currently seeing on your screen. And of course, Tari is also playing a character character who, believes not at all in smoking. I mean, there's no, but when they do, goes into that full second set of lungs that I mentioned before. How is life in the universe been with you, Tari? How you doing? And who are you playing today?
Well, first of all, thank you, and thanks for having me. How am I? Slowly getting off the Baldur's Gate 3 hype. That was going very, very strong for a while. I'm like slowly returning to Earth.
Okay.
So and Middle Earth.
And Middle Earth now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now going from Toril to Ada. Improvements. Unfair comparison. Let's point that out. No, I love Forgotten Realms. Okay, very, very fucking much. Just been drawing a bunch, I guess, lately, as people do, I guess. Besides that, I'm playing one Granny Lavender, Hope Singer, who is, as previously mentioned, the grandmother of the little Coriander, who has never done wrong and can do no wrong. And I'm not currently quite sure why I'm here. I guess mainly to make sure that Coriander doesn't get into too much trouble.
Right, which is, not needed. Coriander, of course, is completely in control of everything. Like no problems at all. Why would there be any issues?
When I'm
I think that adults have been getting Coriander into scrapes more than Coriander herself has been doing.
Not this adult. Would never
granted. No. Mostly her uncle, I think.
Yeah.
Mostly Bilbo is responsible for that nonsense.
Yes. So yes, when I'm not here to keep an eye on my granddaughter, I at home work as an herbalist and apothecary, which I said sort of right this time.
Right.
I am a scholar and of course a hobbit, if you couldn't have guessed so far. And I do enjoy a nice pipe.
Very good stuff. And always
smoke.
Always a pleasure to have exactly. Only you can prevent forest fires. But always a pleasure, of course, to have Tari with us again. And you'll be seeing Tari again very soon because we're going to arrange this. But October is next week, literally, is when October begins. Then we've got our game book illustration stream and stuff like that. So that's going to be fun, too. Always a pleasure to have Tari with us. And also, of course, a pleasure to
what
have...
book are we doing?
To have book 30, which is Chasms of Malice, which is which is where we get to be the basically Steven Seagal character because he's a chef.
Oh, yeah.
He literally starts as a chef, so it's gonna be really exciting.
You can't do that because it needs to be a 3-word title. Oh,
see,
oh.
Chat is Chasms of Malice, or Marked for Death. Anyway, it is always a pleasure to have Tari with us, and it's also a pleasure to have Tren with us, returning once again, when not doing Eberron, is doing this campaign with us, which is very awesome. Tren, how are you? Good to see you. Wearing not a bear cap, chat, but a wolf cap, to be very clear. Good. A wolf cap. I want to be very clear about that, and all that kind of good stuff. How you doing, Tren? How's life with you, and who are you playing?
The 5th of October. Okay. Sorry. A Rudnell in chat is just, I don't know.
Do you remember?
Yeah. I still want somebody who has a copy of The Hunt for Red October. There's a scene near-ish the beginning when Jack Ryan is in the briefing for Jeffrey Pelt, and he's sitting next to, almost said Louis Gossett Jr. No, completely different dude. Darth Vader. He's sitting next to Darth Vader, and he's looking from the slides. Yes, thank you, him. And he's looking from the slides. He turns to James Earl Jones, and he's like, "Today's the 23rd, isn't it?" And James Earl Jones is like, "What?" He's like, "Today's the 23rd, isn't it?" He's like, "Yeah, I want a screenshot of that with the subtitles. Today is the 23rd, isn't it?" So I can just start posting that on the 23rd of every month.
Just, it's the 23rd, right?
Yeah.
Plus, it gives you a chance to be putting up a meme involving James Earl Jones, which is always a good thing.
It's always a beautiful thing. So,
I have to assume that is a thing on Tumblr already, because they really like their weird date memes. Like it's May.
Could be.
Is a popular one, and of course the Edith of March. is wildly celebrated on Tumblr.
I'm not on Tumblr, so I will have to take your word for it.
Yes, I can look at.
But how am I doing? I'm doing all right. My housemate, as I mentioned on Eberron, he had to go to Oklahoma because his father is not doing well.
Oh, right, and he was coming back today, supposedly, right?
No, well, maybe he was. He told me, I think it was Friday, that his plan was to leave at noon on Friday and head back. Which 20-hour drive, he would have been back Sunday. But when he got to Amarillo, Texas, one of his tires decided it didn't want to be anymore. And so he got a flat. So he was stuck in Amarillo until they got the new tire today. So it's like 3 days to get this tire to him and everything. And I'm like, see, this is why you shouldn't have bought the BMW. I told you. Yeah. You asked, should I get the EV or should I get the rocket that's going to go really fast? I'm like, the rocket that you never drive more than 15 miles on surface streets and you can't go more than 40 miles an hour anywhere around here? That, okay, whatever. Anyway, so he informed me this morning, Dick. Anyway, so I get up and he's like,
the slandering of Trent's roommate.
He sent me an image of a soda dispenser at the barbecue shack he was at that has Big Red on tap. I'm like, you dick!
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's the one thing I miss from Texas.
Could he not have brought you some?
He probably could, but he wouldn't.
But he had to trade it for his tire, for his BMW.
Which is probably like $800. Anyway, no, and the corner market near here finally started selling 1 liter bottles of Big Red. So if I need my fix, I can get it. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Wait, what is Big Red? Is it a beer or is it a?
No, it's a soda. It's
soda,
basically a red cream soda that tastes like bubble gum.
Ugh.
Okay, good. Well,
that sounds nasty.
Very, very bad.
Anyway.
It does sound to me like you would probably enjoy Iron Brew if you haven't had it.
I've heard of it. I was kind of almost sort of dating a guy from Scotland. Not that you would know anything what that's like. And so he was like, I was like, I want to try Iron Brew. He's like, no. I'm like, why? I want to try it. He's like, no, it's horrible. Don't drink it. I'm like, you drink it. And he's like, I'm Scottish. I'm like, I'm like his hereditarily English. He's like, don't drink it. I'm like, all right, well, clearly we can never be in love. So no, I'm not going to drink it. Anyway, that, and he was like, I think 20. So like, no. Anyway, who am I playing? I am playing
problematic age gap on the channel. Amazing.
Well,
good.
I mean, when I'm literally old enough to be your father. So slightly older than his father, actually. Anyways, so I'm playing,
old enough to be your grandmother. So
true.
But I'm not. So I'm playing this guy who's he's a gate captain from the village of Bree, and his name is Titch Applebow, and he likes fireworks. They're okay. He doesn't like their effect on the dogs and the horses that he often has to take care of.
Right.
But he thinks they're all right as long as they're way off over there, and he doesn't have to put out the fires that inevitably happen when people use them. But aside from all those negatives, they're all right.
And when people use them and when they are theoretically breaking the law. So we're going to see if we can bring these people to justice. And let's talk about that, chat, because in our last session, the people previously known as co-conspirators, a terrible slander to the name, of course, of these people, the hobbits and the Men of Bree, have done a variety of things along with Bilbo Baggins, but this one at least wasn't originally planned by Bilbo, or it didn't seem like that, when on a certain summer's evening, there was, in fact, a set of fireworks going off some distance away, fireworks which should not have been available because they seem to be Gandalf's fireworks. And as Bilbo has made very clear, that means that someone has these fireworks illegally, and that is just wrong, and that should not be allowed. And so the party was persuaded to go along with Bilbo and Balin, of course, who was there visiting, to find out the details about this. And what they discovered here from the inimitable Primrose Bracegirdle is that Bruno Bracegirdle was responsible, apparently, for having perhaps, had some fireworks that perhaps were being used. The party tracked down Bruno and eventually convinced him to tell the truth, which was that there were a little bit of fireworks that were used, but most of them were passed off to one of the hobbits that were working for his father Blanco. Not to be confused with Blanca, the creature from Street Fighter. One Otho Sackville Baggins, who agreed to take them back to Hardbottle after a stop in Skerry for a pint. And so, as a consequence, the party set off north towards the village of Skerry in an attempt to track down Otho Sackville Baggins and get back these most excellent fireworks before they get some dangerous thing happens and occurs with them. And so the party set off to the north, and everything seemed like they were finally on track until they heard in the distance the sound of onrushing storms. And it is right at those storms that we are actually going to begin our session today. I'm going to swing over to the map here to reveal the map of Bridgefields, and let's move the thing up here. The party token, which ably created, of course, by our Taritunes. Excuse me. Sorry, still getting over the vestiges of this death cold from my son. And heading north towards the village of Skerry. So let me let's get rid of the tavern music, and let's get a little bit here of some, we need some rain music, I think. Let's see. No, I don't want ominous music. I want.
Cal says, "Do you hear that? There's fireworks going off somewhere.
And
they're over there. You see the lights?"
And Bilbo and Bilbo is like, that's not what that is, my dear boy.
Those are all the same color.
There we go. Got a little bit of rain sound. And I'm sure that no one should be concerned that the name of this track is The Longest Rain. I'm sure that that's not a problem at all, and that we don't have anything to worry about there.
The drops are like 7.5 inches.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. And it's very appropriate because here in the northeastern U.S., where I am in southern Connecticut, it has been basically gray and rainy for the last 3 days. At least has stopped raining now, but it's still a little gray outside. So the weather, I think, is quite appropriate for this. Having said that, though, as the heavy rain falls and the hobbits plus the Man of Bree, as you were all sort of slogging along, even in a place as gentle as the Shire, slogging through rain like this is no comfortable task. And after some time, despite everyone's best effort, this sort of pleasant banter and, pleased, like, we found what we need to find and all that, sort of dies away into a little bit of this plodding gloom. So what I need from each of you, please, is I'm going to need a Constitution saving throw to see if we can ward off the effects of fatigue as you are attempting to make your way through this.
I believe it's actually pronounced fatigue.
Fatigue. Fatigue. Okay. Right. So we have a 14 from Cal, a 15, a 15 from Granny. I mean, listen, Titch, like this is typical stuff, as we know from looking at the film. Bree is always raining all the time, so this is totally fine. And the only one, sadly, who seems particularly weighed down, which seems appropriate given the experience of the player, today, and that is Coriander. As you were just sort of slogging along, I don't know how you feel.
Is Coriander in a murderous rage against the rain? No, I don't.
No, not a murderous rage. But I do want to know, actually, is this a situation where Coriander is used to being able to move kind of swiftly and agilely, and it's hard to do that in mud and rain, and it's just kind of like weighing it down? What do you think?
I think it's actually, in fact, I mean, quite recently, Coriander was quite bedraggled in the downtime period where, like, when we had the where she went to visit Titch in Bree specifically in order
Yep.
to talk about
Yep.
the thing. And I think in general, just Coriander does not like being wet. She is like a cat in this regard. Like, she is nimble, she is agile, but she doesn't take being cold and damp well.
I see.
And I think that as the rain started, she, she probably had like a bounce in her step, and then as soon as the rain started, that bounce diminished, and then she got quieter and quieter, and now it's like that thing where you kind of notice that there's been a silence for a while, like,
Which is not a normal state of affairs.
not a normal state of
Yeah.
affairs, and she is just miserable. Like imagine the most like unhappy child you could possibly just, but quietly miserable, folded in on herself, sad, and like with a look on her face like she will never know joy again.
Oh, I
and
love it.
Yeah, that's how she goes.
I like that Malphurs is like, yeah, and then like, wait, what? You love it? Like what?
I can't tell if that's like, Titch reacting to Coriander being sad, or you specifically, Trent, being like, yes, I enjoy the suffering of children.
I was a
Who
mascot
doesn't?
performer for a while, so yeah, sometimes I do enjoy the suffering of children.
She's not really. I mean, she's like
Oi.
20.
This means that you are dealing with a level of exhaustion, Coriander, which gives you disadvantage on ability checks. We'll see if that expands, but right now you can see that Bilbo doesn't look to be in the greatest of moods, but at least his focus is where it needs to be, so he's probably not paying as much attention. And Balin, of course, is made of sturdier stuff in general. I mean, as a dwarf, this is something that Balin kind of experiences and is actually, tells a couple of stories as you're going along, trying to keep everyone's spirits up about... This reminds me of this time, Bilbo, when we were first going through the Misty Mountains, you remember, and we had to stop inside a cave to find some safety. Not that there was actual safety to be had there, and Bilbo sort of, chuckles and nods and responds a little bit. But still, it's all kind of not so great, for sure. It definitely feels as if there's a sense of just... I wouldn't say foreboding, but just a sense of, oh man, like this just continues.
Well, there was one time we had a guy from Rohan coming through, and he brought one of his horses, which is much larger than one of the Bree ponies. They had a Bree pony in the stable that could walk under the horse from Rohan without even ducking his head. It was amazing.
And they kind of nod about that, and that actually sets Balin off into talking about the difference between dwarven ponies and things like that. So the conversation continues, but it means that you work very slowly, basically along your way, and so it's not actually until when the sky is already beginning to lighten that you enter the village of Scary. Now, Scary is an interesting place. It is an unwelcoming village, I would say, by Hobbit standards, partially because it is nestled on the south side of the hills of Scary. And most of the hobbits here live in these homes made of gray stone. And it's not the sort of warmest place. It's definitely not a place of hobbits or hobbits, of course. And so there's civilized things like, second breakfast and things like that. But there's not this sense of kind of warmth that you would get elsewhere in Scary. And you don't see, when you first enter, any particular travelers, although you do see a couple of hobbits kind of walking by who just sort of nod in your general direction, and a couple of whom just ignore you entirely as you are entering the village.
How late is it?
It's starting to get light, which means that it's probably dawn-ish, maybe a little bit after dawn.
So we walked through the entire night. And at what time did we get up?
I'm trying to remember. You had gotten up a little bit later because you had slept in. So there was that. But normally it wouldn't have taken you this long if it were not for this, disastrous, awful weather that you've been having to deal with.
Who of us might have been here previously? Might have come here previously?
I'm guessing, Granny, that you would have been here, and I imagine that Cal might have been as well, because Cal can tell me, but my guess is that Cal would have been here at some point because of map making. And I should say that it would have taken you even longer if it were not for map work that kind of led you up in this general direction, because at some points it was actually hard even to see a little bit of the path because of the nature of the rain. But Cal's map did some good work in that regard.
Does Granny have family in this village? Like somebody that she might have stayed with last time that she came here?
Probably. I imagine that Granny might know some people in the village. I'm not sure that Granny would have family necessarily.
Well, like somebody where she could like be like, hey, you kind of have to let me stay at your place because it would be rude not to.
Yes. I imagine so. Do you have a name for this person, by the way?
Sure.
Kevin.
Let's say, sure, it was Kevin. Because Kevin's son had a very, very, very nasty cold some time ago, and Granny came around to treat him, and you know, now Kevin kind of owns Granny.
I see.
His full name is Kevin Kevinson, by the way.
Kevin Kevinson.
Right.
Lovely. Wait a second, Kevin Kevinson.
So you could probably do that, I imagine, where you could track down Kevin here. Also, I should note as well that Balin actually knows a little bit about this area too, because this, of course, is the largest mining area that the hobbits have. Now, in fairness, the largest mining area of the hobbits is not exactly, that's not saying a whole lot, right? But there is a mining interest here. And there is, in a number of cases, the hobbits in some ways are more comfortable with strangers like dwarves than they might be even theoretically with other hobbits from elsewhere in the Shire. And so Balin actually is able to chat with a couple of people as well as you are heading off to find Kevin. You finally arrive at the house where you remember that Kevin is, which is this long, I should say not long, fairly narrow, actually, low building down an alleyway off to the side of the village. And there is just, you kind of step in a few puddles and things like that on the way there. It's not the nicest place in the world, but you are now standing outside the door of this place where you believe you've stayed before, Granny.
Yeah, Granny has her walking stick, and she just knocks loudly against the door with a pommel, like pong, pong, pong.
So there's silence for a minute, and then, all right, 1 second, 1 second. And then the door opens, and you see, indeed, Kevin standing there. And he says, well, if it isn't Lavender as I live and breathe, well, what are you doing here at this time of day?
The Lord of Surprise! No, that's the Witcher. Sorry.
Coriander just kind of looks up like this.
Oh, well, it seems you have family with you, too. And soaked to the bone you must be. Well, come in. There's no reason for you to drown out there. And
that's very nice, thank you. And Granny steps in.
Turns around and comes in. You step immediately onto cold stone, which is not the most comfortable thing you've ever felt. There is a very low fire in the hearth of this relatively small room, but it's not particularly warming. But, it's certainly better than being out in the rain. And Kevin closes the door behind you. He kind of gives an extra look to you, Titch, as you come in. And not like sort of a, what are you doing here? But just sort of like, oh, okay. And he says, by your clothing, I'd say that you're probably one of the folk from Bree. Is that right?
But my height gave it away.
Well, no. There's some other humans who've come this way, not just those from the men of Bree. But I think I've seen your spear and some of the armor you've worn before. You're a little bit away from your normal spot.
Very true. Yes, very true.
He says, all right.
Coriander
Well,
sort of whispers, Titch, your spear is famous. And then she just kind of like droops again.
And he's sort of like, oh, well, all right, hold on now a second. And he looks over and he sort of sees Balin, and he says, oh, Master Dwarf, I didn't see you there either. Well, one moment, I should be able to get some dry towels. And he leaves and goes in the other room, and he comes back with these towels, which are rather rough, but are, clean and dry, and he hands them out to everyone. And they're big enough, obviously, to fit around everybody. Probably with yours, Titch, they're not exactly a full, bath towel size, but they're not tiny. I mean, they're
A
like,
proper towel, not a tea towel.
yeah.
I'm just imagining Titch like taking his clothes up and just like wearing the towel like like a woman at the sauna, like tied over
See,
her chest.
see, I was imagining Granny pulling off her cloak and just flash, and just water going everywhere.
So he
or stones just shaking off all over the place.
So he says, well, I'll need to be heading off to the quarry fairly soon, but here, sit down at the table and let me at least get you a bit of hot tea. And he walks over and he says, is tea all right with everyone? I also have some cider that's recently just been harvested. The fresh apples have been harvested recently. And just so you know, there's a bit of a kick to it. It's not just your everyday kind of cider. And he winks, and suddenly the players are reminded of a green room conversation.
Oh, just tea, thank you.
Just tea, thank you. So is anyone going to have the cider, or or is everyone having?
Oh
the
yeah,
tea?
Granny. Oh yeah, that one hot too, please.
Okay.
Yeah, Cal's gonna have to do.
Same Cal. Okay.
No, Coriander is just gonna have the tea.
Okay.
She just wants to. She, I don't,
Yeah, tea mixed with cider.
yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay. Do you that? So he can do that.
It's
Do you
the
want
Shire version of an Arnold Palmer.
more like a hot toddy, I think.
Toddy, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Is that what you do? You want that
These
also,
references.
Coriander?
if it's mulled, if it's like it's hot cider, I think she'll
Right.
have a little bit of it. Yeah.
Okay. So
Sounds delicious.
he puts out the cider and the tea, and as advertised, the cider actually is pretty good. Coriander, you definitely, as you have this cider, it's also good, and there's a bit of a like a little spice in the background, hits you right in that spot. But it definitely does warm you up a little bit. And as you're all sort of sitting around, slightly shivering, but also hopefully warming up a bit, he says, well, before I go, I need to know what you're doing out here. What brings you all the way to Scary on a day like this?
Coriander is saying absolutely nothing. She's still just like very focused on the warm thing she's holding and sipping it quietly.
And I'm forgetting if we have names of people that we're actually searching for, or if we don't know at this point.
You do. Yes, you do. You were looking for, it was Otho, actually, Sackville Baggins,
Right.
who brought the stuff up this way and was going to stop in Scary for a pint, he had said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'll say we've just come up from Budgeford and we dropped by Primrose's place, right? Primrose.
Yes, that's right.
And she mentioned Otho was up this way. I thought we'd have a chat with him as well.
Oh, Otho.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know whether I've seen Otho or not. Most of the visitors here are going to come into, there was a bed. Well, the inn's been closed, but for repairs, actually, for the last week or so. It should be opening up in the next week. But for right now, there hasn't been a lot for travelers. So they've been using the old mining building, that Dwalling Meyerling offices down there. And there's some beds that they've been keeping people in there. If he stopped by, assuming he didn't just keep on going once he found out that the inn wasn't open, well, you could certainly try there at the mining building.
And where is that? I just asked for directions.
And he tells you, but it's basically this small single-story house, which is towards the northern end of the village of Scary, but still within Scary.
All right. Oh, I'll say thanks. We'll take a look there.
And he nods and he says, yes, well, Otho, of course, doesn't usually hang around here much. The Sackville Bagginses, well, they tend to stay south. I suppose you could understand why that is, don't you? And he kind of inclines his head respectfully to Bilbo. Bilbo, his teeth have been chattering a little bit, and as he sips on his tea, and he says, well, it's quite right. It's understandable why most people wouldn't spend a lot of time around the Sackville Bagginses. The regular Bagginses, of course, are a whole different affair. Achoo! And he sneezes and then sniffles. And Kevin says, well, next time you need to make sure you wear proper rain clothing. Well, we weren't planning on actually being out that long. It just sort of, achoo!
Titch reaches into his thing and pulls out a pocket handkerchief.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you. And then, as he blows his nose.
I hear a thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Exactly. Thank you very much. And so, Kevin is going to excuse himself to get off to the quarry where he works. But he says to stay as long as needed, and then to just make sure you close the door behind you, and then you can find who you need, hopefully, at that mining building previously discussed.
Well, I guess we just take a breather, dry our clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Granny
Yeah,
would go
time.
sit with Coriander and unbraid her hair and comb it so that it can probably properly dry. Yeah.
That's so nice. Coriander is just sipping, and I think she's gotten as close to the fire as it's possible without actually climbing into the grate. And
which is what you need to get warm, because it's not very radiant.
And she's wrapped. She'll have shed her cloak, but wrapped the towel over her shoulders like someone who's in shock. And is just sitting there and when Granny comes over, she just will burrow into Granny like a kitten, just not saying a word, just just
there
until she gets warm.
So far, we've just had the tea and the cider.
That's all, right?
Yeah. So without really thinking about it a whole lot, and just kind of being used to hospitality, Cal's going to just rummage through the cupboards and look for biscuits, some things to sort of hand around, to freshen us up before we head out.
So he does not find a whole lot, except for a hunk of bread, which is perhaps a touch stale, but not terrible. And then also a 3/4 consumed wheel of cheese, which is some kind of hard yellow cheese. Definitely not moldy or anything. I mean, it's functional. Although it's not 100% clear, because you can't find what is used to cut cheese off of the cheese wheel. But there definitely is one of those there, and you can smell. It might be some kind of a sharp cheddar equivalent.
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably also have some provisions with us, right?
Yeah, you do. You do have some.
Titch has been working on the same piece of hardtack for the last 2 hours.
No 5 grilled chickens in his backpack?
Yeah.
No, those are long gone. Long gone.
And the backpacks are pretty sodden, just so you know.
Oh yeah. All right, Cal's gonna stoke the the fireplace a bit, and just use a pan to warm up the bread, not toast it because it's already a bit dry. Just make it a bit more pliable, and then cut up some cheese with a knife that I suppose I have in my pack, and slather it, on the bread and hand it around.
Okay. And after chewing for a bit, Bilbo says, "This isn't bad, Cal. It's almost like you have some kind of experience with cooking, but that obviously can't be." And he kind of,
I can't cook at all. But I do like some good cheese. That's true.
That's good. And this is some good cheese as well. I mean, not the kind that we get, obviously, near Bag End. That's a whole different matter. And Balin nods, and he says, of course, the cheese that one can find from especially sheep that are raised nearby the Lonely Mountain. That is not to be missed. And Bilbo nods and he says, I do remember some of that, yes. It was delicious, actually, especially in the days after the defeat of the 5 armies. Well, once they got in, they're off into one of their conversations as they go along. But there is enough cheese and bread to be able to feed all of you. And it's in pretty good condition. Pretty good tasting, fairly, the cheese, obviously, although it is not fresh now, it obviously was, made expertly. And so you're able to do that.
Did Cal just invent a grilled cheese sandwich?
Why, Caloran, you are almost as good as a cook as, what is it, your cousin, Bolo Breath? I once tried his cooking. It was amazing.
I've had some of Bolo's food. His is much better than mine.
Yeah, I think it's actually called a cowled cheese sandwich, just to be clear.
Oh.
Thank you. I'll be here all the week.
I won't. Bye.
Okay.
I think that
ahead,
Coriander is gonna nod off on Granny for a little bit. And what is my hair doing? It's very weird.
Well, Granny undid it, right? So that it can dry? That's what it's doing.
Yeah, exactly. So, so she is just going to nod off and try to get warm.
Okay. Are the rest of you, because I assume at this point it's probably, it's now light comes in through the windows, so it's, well into the morning hours now, probably 7 a.m., 7:30, something like that.
I mean, Titch is used to standing around in the cold rain. It's not an uncommon thing for him to do.
So he steps outside.
Yeah, just,
I'll be out
more
here.
comfortable out here. Yeah, just lean up against the wall, prop himself up with his spear right under his chin, so he doesn't
Whenever you're
nod
ready.
off. Ow! Okay, all right. Just ow! All right. Just keeps him from falling over.
Mhm.
Anyway, no, he does find a place to kind of prop himself into a corner and catches some winks that way.
Okay. How long is the party planning on staying here before heading off to do more investigation?
13 months to the day.
Several years pass. Kevin
I
begins to
imagine-
despise his guests. Yeah.
I imagine mechanically I want to say a short rest, but experientially I would imagine unless she was going to be woken up so that they can continue, Coriander will just be out like a light for 3 hours, I imagine.
Are we
A couple
risking
of hours is my thought.
Couple hours. Okay.
exhaustion if we stay up further?
So Coriander won't face another one of these yet. The rest of the party would not face it yet, but if you leave Scary completely, I shouldn't say that, because it depends on how long after you leave Scary. If you get past midday, let's say, and you still haven't slept for a bit, then you're running the risk of dealing with some exhaustion issues.
Yeah, then in that case, Granny would suggest that we just take a breather now, take a nap, rest our feet, and then get looking for ortho.
With hang out with Ortho, begone.
And then try to find a place where we can get some proper shut eye around noon.
Okay. That seems reasonable. And as you are, as you're resting, there are, the light rain outside is, you just sort of, there are not a lot of extra areas in Kevin's home. So you mostly have to kind of just spread out your wet things on the ground, and, it's sleeping on stone is not the most comforting thing, although as someone who did a fair bit of debate in college, I can tell you I got used to being on hard floors of all different types. But it was still not pleasant necessarily, and so you have that. But it does give you a chance to get a little bit of sleep. I want to take a look into see whether or not what you would have.
Rickets.
Yes,
No.
you have. Exactly, you have rickets. No.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So what I was
Exactly.
just double checking to make sure. Right outside of Crow Cause. Coriander, you're going to need to do a long rest to get rid of this level of exhaustion. That's what I was double checking on. The short rest though definitely helps you. You're now not at risk of having a new level piled on top of it, but the old level is going to require a long rest for you to really clear
is it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
How
what I was
long is a
checking.
long rest?
A long rest is anywhere between 6 to 8 hours, usually.
Okay.
And you can only benefit from one in a 24-hour period. But next time you get that long rest would be fine, as long as you're not, 8 hours from now still wandering around without having, slept in the least. But for now, you seem to be okay. And everyone else seems to have staved off at least the immediate effects of exhaustion.
Back in my day, it was 8 hours of uninterrupted rest. Otherwise, you would not get your spells back.
That's right. That's right. But things have now since changed one way or the other, at least a little bit. But by the time you wake up, the rain has largely ceased. And now it is just sort of the chill and clammy cold of a early morning and post-rain experience. And by the time you leave there, as it's close to noon, I believe is when you said you were going to head out, it is the sun has come out and has helped a little bit to warm the situation, but it still is rather unseasonably cold, even for this time of year, as you make your way out into the road and toward the directions that Cal has about where this building is, which is where you're going, right? I don't want to push you that way, but is that where I think you were going that way?
Oh, yeah, that's where I'm planning on going.
Okay, so this is a building which allegedly is owned by some of these mining officials from Dwalling, and it's been converted, at least temporarily, into kind of a makeshift inn. So when you walk into this small single-story house, you can see that there are already some people that are kind of lying on the floor in this tiny common room, and there are a couple of other separate rooms which may be like small bedrooms or something like that. That's sort of off the main common room. And there is one hobbit that you see when you arrive who has this sort of sandy brown hair and has this focused expression, might be the best way to describe it, and is sitting at one of the tables and has a large leather-bound book open on the table and is scribbling away in it with a quill when you arrive. Pays no attention to you.
I'm seeing what he's scribbling as I approach.
It looks to you, from what you can tell, like he's scribbling in the equivalent of like a spreadsheet. And it looks to have columns of like, days take. There's rows in which you look at different miners. This may be like sort of a mining productivity spreadsheet, Cal, if you had to guess, something like that. Truly fascinating stuff at every level. And he's just scribbling away.
He's saying, if only I could copy this line and paste it to this line.
Exactly.
And create a new column here.
This would be so much easier if I could. Yes, exactly.
What are the functions that I have to write down in my ink to make all of these rows fill in automatically?
Ever since they upgraded to Lorebook 365, I can't get any of them. So
I'll just sort of clear my throat as I'm approaching. Pardon me.
Oh yes, and I should mention he has these like glasses, these thin sort of like oval glasses down on his nose, and when he looks up, he's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you there. Yes, what can I do for you?"
We're just passing through, but we are looking for someone. I'm wondering if he might have stopped by the last day or so. Otho?
Otho. Oh, well, I saw Otho, yes, but he left a little while ago, though, at least more than a little while, I think, 4 or 5 hours, probably. I don't know why you need him, but he's certainly not here now.
Coriander starts crying.
And he looks up, he's like, well, there's no need, no, listen, little girl, there's no need to cry. What are you crying for? Don't want to walk anymore.
Why can't we just find him? I'm so tired and I'm so cold and everything is so hard and I don't like it. I don't like anything. Oh.
Well, I see.
Sweetie, come here, sweetie.
And-
She buries her face in Granny's bosom.
And the Hobbit looks over at Titch, who's nearby, and says, "Well, she, quietly says, well, she seems fairly young to be on a trip like this. Why have you brought her, and what are you doing here anyway?"
So as you can imagine, our need is great, if only to shut her up.
Oh well.
There, sweetie.
Is your, and he says, he looks to you, Granny, and says, "Are you responsible for the well-being of this child?"
Who's asking?
And he says, "Well, I mean, not that I'm any kind of major official, but I'm just curious. My name is Philibert, and I'm an accountant. I'm just handling the mining company's accountants, and I was just doing my work for the morning. The proprietor of this place is off in the quarry and won't be back until later on today, but well, if you need to sit down and rest for a bit, I'm sure that would be fine."
I just want to know where Aldo is so we can talk to him, so we can know what we're doing. And she looks to Bilbo in this moment, and like turns to Bilbo, like
Who looks very sympathetic, by the way. Bilbo does.
It's sympathetic, but she's looking at him like kind of reproachfully, like, I don't understand why we have to keep doing this. Can't we just?
And Bilbo.
I don't even know what we're doing anymore.
And Bilbo says, "Oh, all right, dear. Listen, Philibert, was it?" And Philibert nods. And Bilbo says, "I think I've heard of your family. You're one of the Banks, aren't you, Philibert Banks?" And Philibert nods, and he says, "That's right. You have a good eye for names, but I don't think I know you exactly." And Bilbo kind of says, "Well, I am Bilbo Baggins, and these are..." Now, the minute he says Baggins, the Philibert kind of, "Bilbo Baggins? You mean the Bilbo Baggins from Bag End?" And Bilbo nods. "Well, yes." He says, "Oh, I see. Well, that's interesting. Your name has come up here before, of course. Well, it's a pleasure to have all of you here, I suppose." And he sees Balin standing in the back. And you as well, Master?" And Balin
Dwarf.
says, "Balin.
He's a dwarf.
I am a dwarf, yes." No, he says, "Balin, at your service." And then Philibert nods, and he says, "Well, I'm sure I don't know what else I could tell you." And Bilbo says, "Don't you know this Otho?" And Philibert looks, is kind of like, well, knows, and is just kind of scribbling away. So, Coriander, I'm going to start with you, actually. I would like you to make let's say it's a persuasion, I think. This is not intimidation, and it's definitely not deception. I think Coriander sounds like she genuinely wants to find out where the hell this guy is.
Yeah.
By the way, I meant to do something before we left from Kevin's place.
What's that?
For one, she would subtly make sure that Bilbo would, leave some money for the hospitality, and
Bilbo
also she
was
would
willing
leave
to do
some
that.
of the nice tobacco that she got last time.
Ah, okay.
As like a thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and Bilbo is happy to do that.
Good. Just making sure that we're not just coming to this guy's house,
Yeah,
eat his last food, and fuck off again.
Now, this
We're not
perception...
a party of dwarves. I mean, God.
Yeah, right?
This persuasion check, Coriander, remember, is going to be a disadvantage because you are, unless someone in chat wishes to inspire, but otherwise, because you are currently dealing with that level of exhaustion.
Oh, am I? I had forgotten.
As quite well role played by you just now.
Yeah, here we go. That'll be a 14.
So, Philibert, as Coriander continues to quietly sob into Granny's shoulder, Philibert looks increasingly uncomfortable and kind of like, well, look, I don't know exactly, and he sort of, I don't know exactly where he is, but, well, he was, we had a conversation last night. You see, he came in, and he was rather, well, he looks nervously at Coriander. Drunk.
Coriander briefly, as he starts to speak, she kind of briefly turns her caked with misery face and her gigantic saucer eyes at him, like,
And he says, well, he was, and he falters as he sees you looking at him. Wrong. And Bill was like, sorry? He was and then fine. Well, confound it, he was drunk. All right, now don't overdo that, little girl. Be drunk like that. That's not a good thing. But he was drunk, and that's what he was. And well, he came in and he needed a place to stay, and so he managed to pay for this place here. He had a sack of some kind with him, but we didn't ask questions. There was an open room. He took the last one. The inn's been closed, you know. It's not open right now for another week or so. Anyway, he came in and well, he ended up staying in my room. They had 2 to a room. I was in that small one, and he kind of points at one of the bedrooms over there. And well, he headed off later, and he kind of pauses after he got some information. And he kind of looks uncomfortably at Coriander and the rest of you.
Yeah, Granny just looks over Coriander's head. And like basically the opposite expression, just like eyes of death. Because how dare he make her girl cry? Just yes. What kind of information?
I would like a persuasion check from you too, Granny, please.
Can I have an intimidation check? She's so scary.
Oh, you know what? If you're
was
intending to
just
intimidate,
about-
sure. Yes.
I was just about to say the more he continues kind of evading the subject and keeping Coriander in this state, Titch's grip on his thing keeps tightening. And you know, and
I got
he's
you.
leaning a little further forward, and he almost said he had a sack. Was it a sack full of Bagginses? And it's like, no, don't make that joke. Shut up. And so he just keeps
Sackville
getting it.
of Bagginses. So, what, as he sort of like sees your look and he sees Coriander's, well, you see, I was working on my accounting here, and, well, Otho seemed to take an interest in it and asked me, and, well, he was just so damned just persistent. He just wouldn't stop, and I finally told him because he kept asking, and well, you see, there's a based on my accounting, there's a tunnel in the quarry that has proved to be very fruitful, but no one, not even the dwarves, and he kind of nods respectfully towards Balin, has been able to penetrate it deeply. The rock has been too hard for our pickaxes, and well, truthfully, and he kind of drops his voice a little bit. You see, there's tales, probably nonsense, but of a lost miner who haunts that area. Now, I don't want to frighten anyone, especially not the little girl, but, well, that place is abandoned by us, and there are rumors of passages that have been abandoned after flooding, and some people say that you can even hear ghostly voices echoing in the chamber. Well, certainly not something you'd want to go to, right? And that's what I tried to be clear, but Otho seemed, well, energized by this news, as if he wanted to go himself. I couldn't understand it.
You say it's full of fruit.
What?
You said it was full of fruit.
Fruit? I did?
Yes.
Yes, actually, you did.
I don't... What? There was...
I've missed the joke. I'm sorry.
You said, and I quote, that there is a very fruitful tunnel.
Oh.
What kind of fruit are
I
in there?
see. Well, no, not fruit like that. I mean, productive, profitable. There may be some
Not fruit like
ore
that, like
to be
tomatoes?
found there.
Those
No,
are
no,
fruit, but not
no.
like that.
Certainly not the fruit of the devil. I don't mean that. No, that was
Fruit of the devil.
I'm just joking. That was just me jumping in. Not a
Strong
big-
tomato feelings have entered the chat.
I'm not a fan
I
of
mean,
tomatoes.
I know
Not a fan
that
of
you know,
tomatoes.
some fruits have stones in the middle, but I don't know what you would get them in a quarry.
Yeah, well, no, I simply meant that there was product, it was productive and profitable. If anyone could ever be convinced to mine there, and we haven't been. Well, although, never mind, I thought telling him about the ghosts would put him off, but he was interested still, and so, then, well, I've said enough, and he starts scribbling furiously in his accounting book. He seems to be going over and over the actual, like, column borders, like, with his quill, which seems rather unnecessary.
Coriander looks at him and says, "I'm sorry. Did you know what he was carrying with him?"
No. He had a sack that was tied at the top. It wasn't a huge sack, but it did definitely have a number of things in it, and a couple of bulging things, little poking sticks maybe or something, but I couldn't tell for sure. And
Was it raining
Bilbo
when he arrived?
exchanges a meaningful glance with all of you. Go ahead, Granny.
Yes.
What?
Was it raining when he arrived?
Oh yes, it's been raining for a while. It was, it was certainly not a pleasant experience, I can tell you. A good time to stay indoors and not to go wandering off.
So was the sack also wet from the rain? Would you say?
I couldn't tell. It was very thick sack, though. Unless it had been completely soaked, it probably protected whatever was inside. He had actually thrown his cloak over the sack, too. He was wet, but it didn't seem to bother him because he was, again, he looks nervously at Coriander, in his cups, you might say.
Sir, what is this guy's name again?
Philibert Banks. His first name is Philibert.
Mr. Banks, you know a lot more about mining than I do, and I don't know very much. And I'm very sleepy, and so that means that I probably know less than I usually do. But we are pretty sure that what he's carrying with him is some fireworks, and I was just wondering if according to your expertise, fireworks are a good thing to take into an abandoned mine.
Fireworks. Now, actually, Coriander, make an insight check for me, please.
She's so tired.
Sorry, I know it'll be a disadvantage.
A very sincere question.
Oh yeah.
Insight.
We do
And
have
I would say anybody could make this insight check. Actually, it's a small
have our
room.
fellowship points as well.
That's true. You do it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. That's a good point.
I forgot all about.
Don't need
It's-
those, I think.
Yeah.
Coriander does.
Coriander is like, just look. I know nothing about nothing, but I just don't like. Genuinely, her query is from a place of total.
How can you not know? I mean, you are a miner, aren't you?
Yeah. So anyway, she's
very
just
cute,
blinking
cute.
at him innocently. Everybody else can get
Yeah.
the gist of his insight.
He clearly is, and he clearly is not saying everything. Something about the fireworks thing, definitely he was kind of like, like you could see his eyes widen. Something
So-
about the fireworks thing set him off.
As soon as that
I mean
happens,
to say that. That wasn't what I meant, actually.
So Titch, brings the tip of his spear down right in the middle of the page,
Oh.
and is like,
Oh, my.
"Focus. We
Uh,
need information, and we would rather have it quickly so that we can get her home."
well. Okay, make an intimidation check, Titch, while he's welling.
I can't remember if I have inspiration or not.
It would just be if you did typed in inspiration dash have.
That's what it is.
Yes, that would say whether you do or don't.
So, as this is going on, I'm doing something. Just come back to me when this is
I will, Cal.
information is done.
It's exclamation point inspiration dash have. Oh, there you go. Prince Justin did it. That's basically what it is. Dragon Spear, though, has inspired Coriander already.
Wait,
So that's
really?
good stuff. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Although, actually, I think you meant to be inspiring Titch on that because that was an intimidation. If Titch was assuming Titch wanted to use the inspiration.
That was
Yeah.
well.
But I'm guessing you would or you wouldn't.
Well, wait a minute.
I'll tell you a 7's not likely to work, but a 12 might. But I obviously, Yeah, so you don't. You may have used it last time, I'm thinking, Amal.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
But Dragon was there on the spot. Also, hi, Prince Justin, and thanks, Dragon.
Yes, I would.
So,
I would have definitely have used it. Yeah.
So when that happens, he's like, well, really, and he says, well, all right, well, you see, once he just wouldn't let this thing go, and I explained it to him, and he said that he had a way of getting through that tunnel, and he was drunk, and he started patting the sack and blathering on, and he talked about how everyone in the Shire was going to be speaking to him with proper respect soon, and Balin and Bilbo exchange a very obvious
Titch.
and worried look. Yeah, and I know Titch too at the same time.
I don't know if I brought enough threat to sew in blasted off limbs, to be honest.
Well, I don't... Do you think he was bringing something to blow things up then? It seems ridiculous. And Bilbo kind of like grimly says, that is exactly, dear Philibert, what I think is happening. And Philibert says that Otho, a few hours before dawn, still tipsy, stumbled off with a lantern, a coil of rope, his large sack, and a tinderbox.
Have you heard any loud thunder type noises
Or
since then?
felt the ground shake
Well,
differently than normal.
no, I would say. No.
Well, let's hope that sack was in fact not waterproof. So maybe we should get going.
So are you gonna head off then in pursuit? Hot pursuit, as they say.
Yeah, as that was going on, Cal is just trying to get a sense from that ledger.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cal. Yes.
He's thinking that perhaps Filbert?
Philibert, yep.
Philibert is maybe involved somehow. So Cal is curious about the financial health of the
ledger.
mining crew group, kind of thing. So he's looking at the ledger just to see if he can pick up on anything that might shed some light on that.
Trying to think about what... Let me have you make a straight intelligence check to see if you can decipher what you're looking at. It's not a problem to see it, but deciphering what it means is, especially when you're not obviously like, let me see that,
Not a save.
No, a check. Yeah, it's hard to say, Cal. There's nothing obvious here. Like, a bunch of like numbers scribbled out and then like, the equivalent of whiteout with like numbers put on top of them. Like there doesn't seem to be anything like that. It looks more or less just like a kind of simple spreadsheet that apparently is tracking both miner productivity and then tunnel productivity at this quarry. But you don't see anything that seems obviously, off. But I mean, it might be hard to tell without a longer look.
Yeah, without seeing a single page. All right, so after we find that out, Cal says, we really better get moving. He's been gone for 4 or so hours, I think Philibert said.
It would have been, a couple hours before dawn, and we're now talking about it's past noon, right? So we're looking. So he's been down there for 5-6 hours, or he's been away from the inn anyways that long.
Yeah. If he's doing something in the mine, it will take him time to get set up. So we probably don't have much time left.
Let's go. Let's just go. Let's just go down into the mine.
The good news, Bilbo kind of puts a comforting hand around your shoulder, Coriander. The good news is that it has indeed stopped raining, and by the time you come out, the sun is actually shining and providing a measure of some warmth as you head over to the quarry. The good news is that the sun is out and you're feeling warmer. The bad news is the quarry is an active mining operation, and there are mining officials in front of it. And you are stopped on several occasions and told that you under no circumstances are allowed to enter unless you are an official employee of the company. regardless of what you tell them. So, if you explain, it's up to you if you want to try to explain what's happening, but they are very much not interested in hearing anything. In fact, one thing I'll just note for the party, it seems almost impossible that Otho would have been able to get through any of this either if they're being as hardcore as they are with you. They don't want people going in, let alone people with sacks and tinder boxes and all that kind of stuff.
They don't want people going in, let alone hobbits.
Let alone hobbits, yeah. But what? No, but they clearly, without objects and things like that.
Have told Philibert to come with us.
No, I think that I wonder if like Coriander would sort of go to Cal and say, Uncle Cal, is there any chance that you could look that I know maps are about are about what's on top of the ground, but can your map help to understand if there are other ways to get into the mine? If you look at it and maybe can it do that?
Well, that's a very good thought. If we can read the lay of the land with the surrounding hills, valleys, stream beds, perhaps we might be able to. And he pulls out the map and unrolls it. It shows everybody.
And it does look like if you have the opportunity to do this, it does look that like you might be able to, if you can figure out a way to kind of slip around the outside of the quarry without being noticed, you might be able to see if there's another way down into the mine. This is set right on the edge of these sort of from the point of view of a hobbit, they're probably fairly decent looking mountains. From the point of view of Balin or anyone who's or even Bilbo, like anyone who's actually been in a mountain, this is like, these are like gentle swells compared to what actual mountains are. But it does mean that there are a number of...
average Dutch experience. Is this a mountain?
That's funny. Yeah, this definitely doesn't count as a mountain to anyone who knows them. But there are sort of drops and dips, and so Cal, there's plenty of ways to look around the kind of natural contours. The issue is, how do you want to do it while avoiding being seen? Because if you can make a lay of the land, survey, you might be able to find another way in.
Could Coriander and Kelleran collaborate on this, in that like Coriander could do the sneaking if she's told what to look for?
Loving that alliteration. Thank you.
I like the idea of collaboration, but I don't think you'd be able to do what Cal would need to be able to see. I think he'd need to be able to see it himself. However, the two of you could collectively go. And that might be something where Coriander might be able to advise Cal, okay, wait, now you want to go, don't go yet, okay, now, like that type of thing, while Cal is actually like furiously, Cal, like scripting out the map on like a back of a something or other. Like you could do that too if you want.
Sure, let's try that.
Sweetie, Are you sure you aren't too tired for this?
I am. Well, I just think if explosions happen, it will be harder to sleep. So we should just get the fireworks and what was the expression? I think my dad used it to power through. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to power through. and then I will sleep. And then I will sleep for many days.
What if Titch attempts to assist by putting out the eyes of everybody who's looking at them?
That would definitely have the positive effect of both eliminating any concerns of being seen, and also would mean that you would end up in jail for the rest of the adventure. So I think, that would definitely,
how much lawful... I love this. This is like an incredible heel turn for Titch.
No, that was Trent's idea, not Titch's.
Yeah, not Titch's idea. Yeah.
Alas.
Do you guys remember I think it was Monty Python, where there's like a guy in the distance like running towards the camera, and then there's like a drum roll, and then back to the people, and then back to the guy, and he's still really far.
Holy Grail.
Back and back.
The Holy Grail, yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden he's like right on top. Yeah, that's the best.
That's Titch.
Yep, totally.
Yeah, I think so, and I think this is an instance to use fellowship points. I forget how many we have, but.
Let us double check.
Like
and see.
7 or 8.
We have 1,000 because
I have
we
6
have
written down, but I don't know if that's
of,
correct.
extra stuff.
You have 8 fellowship points.
18.
8.
18.
And
not
remind me how they
18,
work again.
So let's talk about those fellowship
Cash them
points.
in to win.
I love all these. Like the real answer is this. I'm like, no, that is also not accurate. That is not how they get used. Okay. So
well, I mean, we
for
can have a
fellowship
vote
points,
on it. So
Yeah, we
just
outnumber you.
outvote
So.
the DM.
Yeah.
You could attempt to do that, and in a democratic system of government, that would work out real well.
Oh, what are you, a totalitarian?
Some people are totalitarian about smoking and no smoking signs. Other people are when it comes to
Ooh.
whether a game would be imbalanced. So you can
Well, I
spend a
know where
point of
I am standing.
you can
young
spend a
man.
point of fellowship to gain advantage on an ability check, attack roll, or a saving throw. So you could use one of those for, because there's probably going to be several of these, both stealth checks and ability checks. So now the way this would work is Coriander is still dealing with exhaustion, but any fellowship points that you use will counterbalance it, so it becomes a normal roll. And of course, Cal is not exhausted, so anything I ask Cal to do would be at advantage if you use a fellowship point. So,
Yeah.
and this seems like a good time to use it. I mean, like, you
Yeah.
this seems reasonable.
Just a quick question, like
Sure.
on the you said that various people from the quarry, workers or stuff, were like advising us, you shouldn't be going any further, blah blah blah.
Right.
I will ask a couple of them, of course, but we are looking for Otho. We thought he might have come this way. Have you seen him?
Nope. Haven't seen any Otho. And someone says, don't even know any Otho.
Well, have you seen Kevin Kevinson? Oh wait, is Granny there? Or are you guys already?
I assume Granny's
Oh,
no, I
this is
assume Granny's still there.
walking
Okay.
away.
And Kevin Kevinson, well, yeah, he's been down the mine for a few hours.
Yeah, well, we've been staying at his place and he forgot his lunch.
Oh, well, it's past
Oh!
lunchtime. Too bad for him.
Ah!
What? I don't get a bluff roll like a.
These,
like
I'm the reason I'm
roll?
being hardcore about this is these guys are very hardcore about the mine. They do not want people going in it. Clearly, they have been told in no uncertain terms, no one goes in this thing unless they are like, triple checked and confirmed by company, property, blah 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 blah.
So just the reason Cal
Pocket
wants to do
sand.
that.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could just like
Pocket sand.
roll initiative, but I don't know if you want to get into a straight out brawl with the people in the front. Go ahead,
Granny
Cal.
would.
Cal was just looking for confirmation that Otho probably didn't go in the front door.
You would guess not. There's no way. I mean, if Otho was as drunk as Philibert was describing, there's no way he would even be able to think to do it, even if he would. These people clearly, these people are equal opportunity. They're not singling any of you out. They're just like nobody goes through.
Yeah.
According to them.
So it reinforces our thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's. Shall we embark on our little surveying expedition?
Like, find a horn and blow it and be like, second lunch.
Yay! Okay, so Coriander and Cal are going to do that. While they're doing that, Granny and Titch, are you doing anything around the front of the quarry, or anything that I have not thought of that you might want to try doing before I get to Coriander and Cal?
Puppet show. No.
Oh, Granny would like make like a whole would like basically start a scene like discussing with them, like not expecting to actually convince them, just like to buy time and distract them.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I'll buy that. And Titch, what about you?
Like
He's
going full
backing her
Karen
up.
on these guys.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like, sometimes he's arguing in her favor. Sometimes he's arguing against her. Like if things are getting, and he will just start like laughing. Like, when was the last time you were actually in a mine? And he ingratiates himself to them. And then sometimes he takes her side.
Probably talking about being like a guard. Like, listen, the thing about being a guard, you know what it's like to be a guard. Like. Guard
Am I
talk,
right, gentlemen? Am I right?
Yeah.
You have to be up here. No.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing that, and Bilbo and Balin are sort of in the same spot. Bilbo sort of is looking thoughtful and has been talking with Balin about some kind of alternatives, presumably, but have not, gone in yet, while Cal and Coriander make your way around the outside of the quarry. All right. First step is
Way to NPC, jackasses. Anyway, so
first step is going to be for Cal and Coriander both to make stealth checks for me, please. Again, now you can use fellowship points as you like. Right now, Coriander's at disadvantage. Cal's just at flat, normal roll. If one or both of you use fellowship rolls, you will either compensate in Coriander's case, or we'll get advantage in Cal's case. Up to you.
Well, so this, yeah, I'm curious about how you want to do this, Brad. Like, I guess it's partly like how we envision it. Like if like, okay, so this is an interesting mechanical problem, right? Because I think that Coriander has much higher stealth probably than Cal does, but she's at a disadvantage. But he can get advantage. So like, there's an interesting 6 of this, half dozen of the other.
Well, Cal has 4 stealth. His dex is okay. So I'm actually thinking we should use one for Coriander and not for Cal.
Okay.
I do have a question. Is this sort of similar to some of the rolls that we had to make, in which the group had to reach a certain number of successes?
That's exactly right. And so and so what that means in effect is that if both of you succeeding will be very beneficial to your stealth process. Both of you failing would be quite detrimental to that. And one failing and one succeeding will be kind of in the middle. And I in my mind know how this is going to work regardless. So yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like a group stealth check, sort of.
Okay. I think taking one.
I have a question.
Excuse me.
So I copied in my travel. So looking at my map, I'm wondering if I could use that as sort of a like planning the route to reduce our risk of being seen is the idea. And so like getting a good travel score might give us advantage without having to use a fellowship point or something like that, or cancel Corianders or
I think what I would say is that if you're going to use that, what I would say is that would cancel a negative result. One negative result. So the use of the map would mean that one of the checks that I give you would be canceled if you got a negative result on either stealth or on one of the kind of perception mapping checks, basically, Cal. So yes, the map would benefit that. It would cancel one negative check.
All right. So, in preparation, I'm trying to include Coriander, right? So I huddle up with her and show her the map, and I tell her what I'm thinking, and I solicit input, and so it becomes sort of a group effort type thing.
Okay. From Coriander's perspective, she is struggling, but she's trying really hard. Like, she is, if this were a different game mechanic, she would be pushing herself, and therefore, taking
Hobbits in the dark. I know. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, she's trying really hard and being very serious about wanting to help, but it is clear her capacity is limited. But she does, like, in fact, I think the way it goes is that whenever she looks at the map, it's very clear that she has a really hard time following it. But when you point things out to her in the landscape and stuff, she's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, Okay, so shall I just make a stealth roll then?
So I think we should use one on this first one.
I agree.
You,
yeah.
And not for me. And we'll just see how it goes.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. So fellowship points down to 7. So you're just making a straight stealth check now, Coriander.
Yep.
Me too, right?
And yes, and you're not using a point, right, Cal?
Yep.
Okay.
Boy. All right. Well, that's a 12.
Okay. So, I would say that I'm going to rule that when you first start, the discussion with Titch and Granny is helping to keep the guard's attention slightly off of you in this initial check, like as you're just starting to make your way around the back of the mine. So that means the DC is not going to be as difficult. There will be more issues later that you may or may not have to deal with, but at least here, I would say that both of those succeed. So what that means is that you were able to make your way to the back of the mine, the side of the mine, the southeastern portion of the mine here. And I've put your 2 tokens there separately, just to kind of indicate both of you being there. So your tokens end up here. And you're able to see sort of as you look down the back side of the mine. There's this fairly large, sort of impressive looking for both of you structure that looks like some kind of a crane, which is every so often reaching down, and it has a great scoop at the end of it. It's kind of and it like pulls up on this thing, and there's a bunch of like rocks and stones, and then it swivels to the right with a terrible creaking sound, and then dumps into a bunch of rocks that are by the side as well. So it does all of that. while you are making your way around to the back. Still haven't seen anything that would be an obvious way into the quarry / mine without going the front way yet. But this is just obviously the first check that you made.
Cool.
For some reason, as I looked at our cute little tokens, I got this image of like a 16-bit video game, and I was crawling around the side of the mine.
Yeah, exactly. It's got all these ladders down, so I was thinking of the old Intellivision Burger Time game. Anyway, okay, so you go around to the back. At this point, Granny and Titch's distractions will not help you on this side. So here, I will need you. You're not going to need to make a stealth. Well, you should make a stealth check because you don't actually know what is or isn't watching you. There's not anything obvious watching you here. But I'm going to ask you to make 2 checks, a stealth check followed by a perception check, which is going to be to see if you can find a way in, down the hill, down the slope, basically into the quarry. Mm-hmm. So knowing that, you can decide what points you do or don't want to use, fellowship points you do or don't want to use on this part of your journey as you've reached the southeastern portion here.
Sure.
I
would say... Oh, sorry. Go for it.
Well, just as we approach the quarry and as it comes into view, I say to Coriander, keep an eye out for maybe a mouth of a tunnel or a gap in the stone, something that maybe is away from the workers that Otho might be using. Mm-hmm. So I want to keep an eye out for that as well, not just a way down, but I'm not even sure we know our destination yet.
Yeah, we're trying to, our ultimate goal here is to find Otho. So if there's some evidence of where he went, then that's another thing that we're kind of on the lookout for.
Okay. So let's have you do the stealth check first, and then we'll figure out perception. Is anyone using, fellowship points on either of these checks?
So I'm sort of thinking that it would make sense to use a fellowship point on the perception check afterwards.
Okay.
I've used it on stealth once. We could repeat ourselves. I don't like to. So, but I don't know. She is trying real hard. So, I don't know. What do you think? Rest of the fellowship. Do you think we should use one on each or just on perception?
Well,
I mean, we have a lot of points, so might as well just use them.
That's true. Why be parsimonious about them at this point? Okay, yeah, I'll use another fellowship point to just have this be a straight roll.
Okay, and Cal, are you keeping your stealth normal, or are you using one as well to get advantage?
I think...
Hey, Tilted.
I'll save it for the perception check, too.
Okay.
So we're just both at straight checks.
All right, so that brings us down to 6 fellowship points. So, yeah, both straight stealth checks then, please.
Okay. Yay.
Why?
Okay.
That'll be...
There you go.
23.
23, and Cal with a 15. Yeah, you're able to make your way around fairly quietly, close enough that you can now try to look down to see if there may be either sign of Otho or a path or something like this down which you could travel. So let me have you both make perception checks then, please. And again, as a reminder, the map you have will cancel a negative result. But right now, Coriander is still looking at a disadvantage roll, and Cal would be with...
roll.
Yeah.
We'd roll again if one of them failed.
That is correct, yes.
Except for the fact that I'm going to inspire Coriander.
Aww.
Okay, so Coriander's now even. Cal, are you using a fellowship point on your...
I'm gonna leave it as is, because because we planned this out, and I'm sort of confident we're gonna find something.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Here we go.
As you nobly stand on the edge, pointing down. Well,
that was an 8. So sorry, Tren, for. I knew this is how this was gonna go. I had a feeling it was gonna be bad. The dice are telling a story.
Yes, Coriander did use the inspiration that you gave her, Dragon.
Oh no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't know Dragon had given me inspiration.
Oh no, it's because you inspired. I beg your pardon, Dragon.
Sorry, yeah.
You inspire. What I had said was that you'd be inspiring Titch was the role that you were inspiring on, because it was Titch's intimidation role that you did that on. So it was, he said originally Coriander, but then the person doing the rolling was Titch.
Oh, okay.
So that's why you didn't use it, because you never got it. It was going to Titch. But it did get used, and he would not have intimidated without that, by the way, Dragon. So you did succeed there. The good news about the perception is that here you only need one or the two of them to succeed. So in this case, Cal, appropriately probably, you do not see an obvious way down here, but there are definitely spots here where a lot of the loose stone and kind of shale coming down from the quarry. There are some places where that looks like far too dangerous. Like if you tried to go down there, you would just slide, and you might even like start a rock slide, and you'd be buried. But there are definitely places where you think it's very unlikely that the guards at the front would be able to see you. So what that suggests to you is that although you haven't found it yet, you think there may be a path that can be found. Because there are definitely spots that the front can't see. In fact, you can't even really see very well Granny and Titch from here.
Okay. So, I mean, given what we've just found, like the hair on the back of my neck is like standing up.
Right.
Your
spidey sense.
Exact same path.
Hair on the back of your feet.
Exactly. So I don't know if I like tracking, or if it would just be straight up perception or something. I want to actively look for like tracks, signs that Otho came this way.
Let's say investigation, then, where you'd be looking to see.
I don't have anything. I will tell Coriander what I'm doing too, in case she wants to join.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, what?
Investigation.
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 Yep.
Sure. I'll also do an investigation check.
Okay,
Why
sure.
not? And it totally makes sense to just play it at disadvantage. So.
Okay.
But she's trying. Bless. She's trying her best. The dice continue to listen to
A
us.
lot of loose rock. Maybe.
Okay.
You don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, does it along the path that I had sort of identified that where the workers couldn't see us? Do I think we could reasonably get down to the bottom of the quarry safely?
Not from where you are here. But if you continue to kind of work your way around this way, around the quarry, you think you may be able to find a spot where there is. Right where you are now, though, no, there's not any safe way down from what you can tell.
All right.
So if you continue your circuit, that would bring you to here next, and I would need stealth checks from both of you as you head to the back of the quarry, basically.
Look, all that I'm saying is that clearly the name Quarry matches what it is. I'm just asking, why did you name the place Scary? Because it doesn't seem all that, terrifying to me.
And the guards are, I don't know what you're talking about. It's Scary Hills for sure. And they don't understand your linguistic play at all, clearly. They're just sort of like...
I just realized, and I'm going to subject you all to this.
Oh, no.
Currently, we're in a quarry. So she's Quarryander.
Quarryander.
I would like to disinspire.
Come on, that was like a
retroactively
bardic gift
uninspired.
Right
Yeah.
Bardic gift, yes.
Yoink.
Okay, I'm going to use another fellowship point because stealth is the thing that she is good at. I'm just going to go for that.
How about you, Cal? You using this too? Or one or two or not?
We still have that sort of reroll thing, so I'm not going to. We're just doing the stealth again.
We still have the reroll thing? Oh, okay, right. Well, wait, do we want to use the cancellation of the reroll thing on the failed investigation?
That's a good point. You could have. That's true. You could have canceled the negative effect from this. Yes.
I think we should do that. I think because it's sort of, if I'm sussing out the structure here, we've got to succeed at the stealth and succeed at the perception and then succeed at the investigation.
Well, the investigation was something I brought up
about tracking.
Not our wonderful GM. So I don't know that we're going to be doing that again.
Okay, fair enough.
Ask about it. So, and we don't. I'm not even positive that Otho came this way. He might have gone the other way or something like that. So that's just kind of a shot in the dark. So I wouldn't bother with that one. That role.
All right. Well, Coriander is following your lead. So except for in stealth where she is. Yeah. So
right.
you know what? In that case, In that case, I'm gonna, take. How many fellowship points do we have left?
6.
6?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Many.
If I were better at statistics, I would be able to say whether playing it straight on something where she actually has, +7 is the thing, or is it on the stuff that she is not as good at. And I don't know. I think I'm enjoying the fact that the perception thing, which is not where she shines, is the thing that she is experiencing disadvantage on. So yeah, I'm gonna keep that's the narrative thing that makes sense to me. So I'm gonna spend another fellowship point on this stealth roll.
Okay.
None for me.
Sorry, Kel?
None for me.
None for you. All right. Okay.
Aha.
Oh, nice.
So, good news, Cal is stealthy. Bad news, Coriander, sleight of hand is not what we were looking for
Wait.
here.
Oh
It's
shit!
the same bonus. Though.
It is the same bonus.
I'll accept it as the same bonus, but it is.
Okay.
It was funny, the idea that you were like,
Whoops.
you successfully stole Cal's map. You're like, no, god damn it.
It's right. They're literally right next to each other. I swear. I thought.
It's fine. It's okay.
Like stealth.
It's the same. It's the same bonus
Okay.
as Trent points out. So, you both are able to with ease here. Maybe because you're far away from the stuff.
I'm just imagining her like dealing a deck out in such a way that she's able to hide within it as she rolls around. Anyway.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Like Pigpen with a deck of cards.
So you're now directly
Sleight
behind.
of handed herself.
Yeah, oh, I
into,
see,
like,
I see.
You know?
You are now directly behind the sort of large crane-like structure. Not like right next to it, but I mean you're behind it, and so you can now not see Granny and Titch at all. You are up a little bit above the mine as you're looking down upon it. And so here I will ask again for a perception check this time from both of you. And again, you have the map cancellation, and you also have the, again, fellowship points. You have 5 of those left to see if you can find a way down into the quarry. Same thing we talked about before.
No, I'm just saying that the power comes from the wrist. You see, when you thrust, you keep your stance wide enough that way you can push into the.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Both in the front, both of them are doing that. Wow.
Well, I'm glad she didn't spend. God, these dice. These dice. Bless them.
Woo.
I love them. I have never gotten double ones in the. I want to say. What is this? 6 years.
Someone
we've been
didn't
playing?
make their appropriate offerings to RNGesus before the game.
I will say it is perfectly narratively true. She is getting more and more tired.
For sure, I love it.
Yeah.
But Cal, I'm sorry. Did you say you were using a fellowship point for yours?
No.
I
Okay, so
was.
neither
The
one of you were.
cancellation. So I'm thinking of using it here.
Yes.
Okay.
And if I cancel, can I still use a fellowship point at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
The answer to that is
I
yes.
think I will, because we're so close at this point. I don't want to fail.
Yeah.
I love that Coriander is literally just like, my eyes, like right on.
My read on this is she literally cannot keep her eyes open. She has like stealthed them into this. She
Poor
has
Coriander.
palmed herself into her own hand. She's so tired. She's rolling sleight of hand instead of stealth.
Yeah, exactly.
She is, and she's gotten them this far, and now she's just drooping, and she's just like, Cal, yeah, I think there's some, and I think she's actually gonna slump for a second and like nod off while Cal is looking.
I like that Cal almost succeeded if he had advantage. So it's like he thought he saw something, and then like he looks back, and Coriander's like dragging.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
like,
He
that
goes back
makes
to her.
I think
He
I
doesn't
what?
see the thing.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there's a. Oh.
All right, so now you can
All right,
make another
so
perception check, but you're going to do
advantage
this
on
at
this one.
advantage, right?
Yeah.
And your negative cancellation is now gone.
Yeah.
14 is definitely better than 8. So you think, Cal, that not here, but you think you're pretty confident that up to the northeast, so basically one spot up from where you are, you think that there is a much more shallow sort of drop into the mine, but because of the placement of where the crane has been dropping a lot of like some of the ore, like, you know, kind of piling up the ore, there's basically a place where from the front you can't see into the mine itself. Like you can see where the entrance would be, and this little path winds from the entrance all around these different areas. Now you don't know yet because you haven't checked to see, you can if you wish, whether Otho would have gone this way. But if you can get up to that spot, you think you can probably get down the hill without an incredibly difficult check to do so. Definitely more than where you are now or where you were previously in the southeastern corner of the quarry.
Okay. Should we go back and tell the rest this or keep going?
I'm not sure that I trust Coriander to keep her voice down. Mr. Applebout, we found a secret way into the mine that these guys won't know about.
I found it! You know, like,
Yeah, yell across the quarry.
The rock slide starts, you know.
Coriander is very tight-lipped. She is very sleepy. And when she's sleepy, she gets more quiet. So, just saying.
All right, well, before we decide, let's, Coriander, let's just, do you see any tracks that Otho might have left? You know, we'll just look again. No advantage or anything.
Oh, just kind of just looking around and looking at the ground tracks. She's like, are there trains in Middle Earth? I don't even think there are, right? Like,
no, minecart tracks there could be,
Minecart,
but not trains, yeah.
She's like, tracks. Oh, I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna look at the ground and
Not
wow,
bad.
that's a 14.
Yeah. It's because of the loose rock and the shale, and because you're also exhausted, it's not super easy to tell, but you think, Coriander, that you don't think there are tracks here, but you think off to the north, a little bit where Cal is pointing, there seems to be like, the path seems to have been disturbed not that long ago. Like, you know, if it was just natural sort of the fall of rock, it would look a certain way, but you think you see sort of like deeper depressions along one kind of contour of that path that suggests that maybe someone had gone down that way. You need to go up there to see for sure, but you think you might see something up there.
Coriander's like, oh, Uncle Cal, I don't know. I mean, it's just, so
What's that?
that's where we want to go, right? Like that place to the north.
Right.
And I mean, maybe I'm just making this up because if that's where we want to go, he would have had to go there probably. But I think that, I don't know, it looks, we should go there. Let's go there.
Good thought. I see what you're talking about. But Cal says we do have to sort of decide, like, now that we perhaps think we know of a way in, what should we do about Titch and Granny?
How far are we from them? Like, how long would it take to get back to them?
If you're being careful, about a half hour.
Not that I'm there, but you know, you could put up a distraction for the guards.
Yeah,
If only you had some fireworks.
yeah.
That's a good idea. Find Otho. Oh, damn it. You're already doing it.
I mean, you know, Bilbo and Balin are still back there, right?
Yes.
I'm just looking at... I'm looking at what Coriander has in her stuff. She still has a ludicrous number of pocket handkerchiefs. And
just tie them all together.
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
rope
that's
and
kind of
climb
what
down
I'm
into it.
imagining, actually. Like, cell phones, you know, obviously, first port of call.
Right.
Actually, wait, am I making this up, or have they in the past used, like, bird signals a la Bilbo needing to hoot like a tawny owl or whatever?
Once like a barn owl and twice like a screech owl, yes.
There you go, yeah.
I was going to say, Granny's never said who, ever.
He's a
Yeah,
hoot at parties.
You could try to do that, where you could try to, have someone call out from behind, try and see whether the rest of the party even knows what the hell you're doing. Woo-hoo, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I feel like if this is a thing that if Coriander was going to do it, it would be because of her Uncle Bilbo's stories of the time when he was asked to hoot at like an owl in this way, and he didn't know the difference, but he then learned the difference, because it might come in handy. Also, Coriander has recently had a quite beneficial encounter with an owl. So I think that, why not? She's really tired, and this is a really dumb idea. So I think it just makes narrative sense that she would try to hoot like an owl to get Bilbo and her granny's attention and draw it to where she is.
All right. So let's have you, let's see. I'm going to ask you for a performance check here.
Okay.
We're going to see how you do with a performance check. Now, again, because of the exhaustion, this is still disadvantage unless you use one of those handy-dandy fellowship points.
Cool. I'm also going to... God, she doesn't actually have that. She is not proficient in...
That makes sense that you wouldn't necessarily be. Then you're still... That's fine. You can still then just be making what I think would be a charisma check, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it basically is. I'm just looking at her other stuff and wondering if there is... something else that
the alternative is tying all those handkerchiefs together and doing like some kind of Hobbit Cirque du Soleil that's just weird.
You know what? Actually, as much as I like the owl idea, genuinely, I mean, okay, bear with me on this. Here's there's imagine you're facing the quarry entrance, right? Mm-hmm. The guards are facing out from it. Mm-hmm. Our party are facing towards it.
Yes.
So, and we've gone a way around, right?
That's right. You're nearly literally at the back of it right now, behind.
So if Coriander did actually knot her handkerchiefs together and do a big waving of something, they should be able to see it.
Not from this distance. You have a huge crane in front of you, remember? So they wouldn't be able to see that. You'd have to come down.
How close is she to the crane?
So you're not that close. Remember, you're above the mine entrance, but you're behind the crane. If you go down to the back of the mine entrance, then come around, circumnavigate the mine right down at the ground level, like below where you're standing right now, then you ought to be able to be close enough that you could, wave around the handkerchiefs. Although, remember, it's not just guards. There are people going in and out, hobbits going in and out of the quarry and doing various work, not to mention the crane operator. So there's a little bit of that too. But that said, that would be the way to do it. From here, though, you won't be able to be seen with that thing because of this fairly large, tall crane.
Here's my other pitch. Could she in less than half an hour climb the crane midway in order to get their attention? I'm trying to
sure. Once she gets down to the crane, once she gets down to the crane, she can do that. The issue is whether she's going to make a lot of noise getting down there.
Cool. All right. So we're talking stealth, acrobatics.
And then probably stealth so the crane operator doesn't notice, but yes.
Yeah. Okay, all right. And this is all to to
let them know that we're ready to go. Yeah. I mean, there is that too.
Yeah. God, is it worth doing this or just going straight into the mine? I mean, I'm feeling that weight of we've split the party and I want the other party to take part.
Are you saying any of this stuff out loud?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. She is saying this out loud. It's just a running monologue at this point. She's pushed through to the adrenal fatigue portion of the adventure where she's just well, I guess I could hoot like an owl because Uncle Bilbo told that story one time, and I remember, and I actually did learn how to hoot like an owl, but that's actually, but they might not understand So maybe what I should do is
Granny, we got to listen to me.
I
No, you're
climb
tired.
the green because it
You
worked
must
so well
listen
last
to me now.
Wait, oh, I'm sorry. Were you saying something?
Yes, I was.
What were you saying? I'm sorry. I told you I'm very sleepy.
Miranda, you're a little bit tired. I would like you to rest here while I go back and fetch the party low and quickly, and we'll go together down into the mine. And he takes off his pack, and he says, "Here, just lie down in this brush, lie against this pack.
Okay,
I'll be right back."
She
So
falls over. She just falls over asleep, like a stone on the stone. Okay.
all right, so the Cal has this tireless and swift. I've been looking for ways to use this. So I'm thinking, even though time is of the essence right now, I think the best plan is to have everybody with us. So I would want to move away from the quarry and then hightail it as fast as my tireless and swift can bring me to the front and around and sort of reconvene with the others.
Reasonable. So I am going to have you make one stealth check when you get to the front, because you do sort of have to be even the speed is not the issue. The issue is the stealth. So you will need to do that.
All right, I don't have the cancellation anymore, and we are
Correct.
so close here. So I'm going to use a fellowship point
Makes sense.
to get me there.
Go for it.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Still very
So
Oh,
you're,
yes!
you're able to
Let's
make it with
fucking go!
ease. Yeah, you make it with ease around there. And you can now see that Titch and Granny seems to be talking to with Bilbo and Balin with one of the guards about the best way to pack a pipe, basically. This is how you do things. And Titch is hanging out with another guard, and basically the guard is like, this way? And Titch is like, no, this way. You stab this way. So
Cal bustles up and he interrupts and he says, I'm really very sorry, but Titch, Granny, Coriander is I think she's a little bit ill. I was taking her back to Scary and she had to just lie down. I'm having trouble waking her. Please come quickly.
oh,
We understand.
do we need
that
some
this is
we
a
need some
ruse.
help? One of the guards we can come with him and
I
Granny
think we
can
have,
handle
I think we
it.
have
It's
enough,
fine.
and you have important work to do, and we'll just take her back to Scary. We'll be fine.
Wait.
I told you
First,
not to eat that cheese.
Does Granny understand that this is a ruse, or does she actually believe that?
Well, I
As
do
Cal
say that-
is sitting there doing the Rocket Raccoon winking.
He did say he brought her back to Scary, and you know that he didn't.
Oh yeah, okay. No, she's enough.
And
all right.
that
That would have been really funny.
I'm lying.
Runs to Scary. No, damn it. Okay.
Go to my granddaughter.
Just a shawl-covered blur runs down the street.
Yeah. It's like, God damn it. Okay. So then you can make your way now. Bilbo and Balin, after Bilbo gives you this sort of exaggerated wink, and stay behind to talk to the guards, which gives you a little bit more cover, so that all I need from Cal and Granny and Titch is one more group stealth check from the three of you. So basically, each of you has to make one of these checks, but I'm looking for a majority success here. So if one fails to make it, then that's fine. And you have 3 fellowship points left if that is of interest to you.
Blow everything on this one approach to mine entrance.
We're real close. We're so
You
close.
are.
Well, we need a majority. Honestly, I think we should use 2 just to make sure.
I would use them all up. Honestly,
I want to
this
say
is
one.
very obviously the finale that's happening.
Yeah,
here, so,
I feel saving one for actually
Yeah.
getting to the end part would be it would be very funny if literally we rocks fall, everyone die in this particular adventure, the lowest
we may
stake,
not-
sweetest Hobbit one, due to not stopping some fireworks from going off in a mine. But it's fine.
We don't know the effect. We may not be entirely doomed if we fail this check. We may
Yeah.
be able to recover in some way.
Sure.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
So-
So
Play to
I am
find
out. So, yes.
relatively healthy. So the
we
question
all
is who
need to
uses
roll?
it.
Yeah.
The Titch with a 1.
I'm stealth.
Wow.
Natural 20 on Granny.
Yes.
To be clear, I assume one of you, because we do technically have to decide if we're using them before we roll. So can I assume that one of them was used?
I
Right.
said we were using 2 out of the 3. just so we'd be safe.
Okay. So that leaves you with 1 point left, and those are all very successful. So you were able to move so silently around all three of you, actually, that you get back to, and when you get back to the area, at first, Cal, you're wondering what's going on. Exactly, you hear a kind of a rather loud snoring coming from the brush.
Wait, did you say snoring? No. Coriander doesn't snore.
You hear the snoring,
does?
does?
Snore.
Does Coriander know she doesn't snore?
Yeah, she's so stealthy. When she's asleep, she's asleep. I'm sorry.
I'm sure Coriander believes this with all of her being.
She did have some cider,
She
though.
gets to decide whether or not my character snores.
I'm joking with you. I'm joking.
No,
It's the cider.
she's very, very quietly asleep.
Okay,
Anyway,
that's fair.
And
You
she's
do
cute.
find her.
She's curled
So
up like a
not
little
here.
ferret.
Okay.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that is cute. Yes.
Aw.
you gently wake Coriander.
As she wakes from a horrible dream, screaming at the top of her lungs.
Oh wait, sorry. Someone waking her up. I was distracted by trying to say that I thought it was really sweet that Granny rolled a nat 20 on stealth while in pursuit of Coriander. I think that's really funny. Yeah. Anyway, if somebody wakes her up, she'll just be like, blink, blink. Oh, how long was I asleep?
It's been 50 years.
No.
Was it a minimum of 6 to 8 hours? Because
No,
that
it
would
was
be
not.
really useful right now.
It was not.
No? Oh
It was
well.
at best 1 hour.
Right.
Half an hour to get there, half an hour to get back.
And
Oh, you
actually,
left?
because he was using Tireless and Swift, it would have been less to get back, but not all of you have Tireless and Swift going out. So
Yeah.
I'd say about 45 minutes, probably.
Right. Well, that's a little nap.
All right, not too long, but we should get going.
Okay. And she just starts walking towards the quarry.
Trudging.
Granny just hands her like another caramel, so that you get some sugar to wake up.
Oh.
Now, when you arrive at the spot that you had previously seen, you do see there's a spot where the slope is shallow enough that you think you should be able to make your way down towards the mine entrance. You won't need to make a stealth check here, but you are going to need to make a dexterity check. It's not a difficult one, but this is loose rock and stone. So I'll take acrobatics from everybody if you have it. If not, then I'll just take a straight dexterity roll as you kind of half slide, half, carefully make your way down this slope on which loose rock and shale can be found.
Ooh.
That's
Okay.
an 18.
18, which is still fine. That's no problem.
Can you use my explore and take the lead to help guide a path?
Yes, if you do that, I will give the others +2. So Cal, you go next.
All right.
Coriander, you're fine anyway. Yeah, that's enough. So for Titch and for Granny, you can make, as I say, acrobatics. If you don't have that, then just dex checks, but you can do it at +2. Well, we'll come back to that.
Oh, wait, what do I need to roll? Sorry.
Dexterity, either acrobatics if you have it. If not, I'll just take dex.
Oh yeah, of course,
and
Granny has
+2.
acrobatics.
I figured it'd be right up your alley. Totally.
Spider Oma.
Oh man, if only.
Oh my god!
Okay,
no.
but now I need to share a little anecdote of my grandma and her acrobatics. At her old place, one of the windows only opened to the outside, but she lived on the 3rd floor. So in order to clean the outside of the window, she had to climb out of the window
Oh
at her 70+ years at the time.
no! Oh my god!
So we just dubbed her Spider Oma.
Oh, wow.
Wow!
That's an awesome story, assuming that it doesn't end and then fell to her death.
No. She was Spider Oma. She
There's a
didn't fail.
Spider-Woman, so it's fine. That's amazing. Unfortunately, in this world, so Cal and Coriander have no problem making your way down this area. Titch and Granny are not so lucky. And as Coriander and Cal are walking down, you suddenly hear a whoop, whoop, and then a hat, and Granny and Titch sliding past you. Now, I'm going to give Coriander and Cal each a chance to catch one. Cal, you're going to have a chance to try to stop Titch. Coriander, you have a chance to stop Granny. You're going to
Okay.
need to make yourselves a dex check here. or athletic or acrobatics again if you have it. I'll take that again. To try to stop Granny and Titch.
Quick question.
Sure.
Um,
You're able to grab Granny with no problem,
Yeah.
Corianders. That's fine. You slow Granny down. Go ahead. Go ahead, Cal.
I don't remember where this came from. Pathfinding advantage. Party gets advantage on pathfinding. I don't remember, honestly, what it's from.
Don't
I got it in the last
know.
fellowship phase, but
Okay, that might have been helpful a little bit actually
Oh
on
my
some of
God!
these.
Yeah, we
See,
spent so many fellowship points. We should have been getting advantage the whole time.
well, but it would depend too on the way in which the pathfinding works for this. But yes, we'll have to remember that, Cal.
I feel like we
going
should
forward.
get back three.
I feel that
Wow.
you had
Fellowship
8
points.
no, you had
I think
you had the points that you
just
had.
for that last phase where we were like trying to look at a path, blah blah blah. If literally trying to find a path, and there was advantage all along.
Yeah, but there were a lot of other situations. I'm going to veto that. There were other situations where those points might have been gone to other use. I think it was
And in my
fairly
case, it
reasonable about
wouldn't
how those
help.
got deployed. So, and you still have a point left over. Remember,
Listen.
don't forget that.
the reason I brought it up was not necessarily for those things, but rather like right now.
But this is actually not
would
the
help
fight.
them
This is literally
navigate.
just navigating it, though. This is not finding the path. You know where the path is now. This is
Okay.
about navigating your way down it, and that's
Okay.
an extra issue of dexterity, more than anything else. But Coriander has stopped Granny. Cal, you need to stop Titch, if you can. So this is going to be a dex check, either acrobatics or dexterity straight.
We have one fellowship.
You have one more.
I think I should use it.
I tell you what, I'll be nice about this, and I'll say that it's 2, so I'll give you one of those points back, so you could use it
Okay.
this here if you wanted to
Yeah.
drop you back down to 1, so that
Okay.
you're not leaving this sequence without one left.
Okay.
Yay.
Okay, yeah, that's enough. Do you grab onto Titch's like spear? Like, what exactly do you do as he slides past?
Around the waist.
Okay,
He's a bit taller than me, so I just want to grab him low, basically.
okay, you're able
And
to
then
do
you
that.
suplex him.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Take
Downhill.
700 points of okay, so slipping and sliding, you make your way down to the very bottom, and there's this little path that basically allows you to sort of sneak around underneath the mine. Now, one thing that occurs to you as you go through this, you can see that as you go underneath, it took you a little while to do all this, and so actually it's probably late afternoon by the time you're starting to enter. But one thing that occurs to you as you begin to get ready to enter the mine is it is dark in there except for an occasional lantern that is set on a pole. So you'll need to think a little bit about how you're going to light your way in this mine.
I said we set the
wait, Granny
crane
has
on
a lantern.
fire.
Okay.
Granny
great.
has a lantern, I'm pretty sure.
Which one of those should I listen to? The set the crane on fire or no?
Yeah, definitely set
Yes.
the
Oh,
crane
Set the
on
crane
fire.
on fire.
Yes, I have a hooded lantern.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
Mhm.
Go ahead,
Hobbits do
Cal.
well in low light. Is there any rules around that?
No, hobbits don't have the same dark vision that
Like
some
dwarves
do.
have?
Theoretically, dwarves would, yeah. And I'm pretty sure the men of Bree does not have any kind of particular has Bree vision. Let's see.
Prevision. Oh, you
Gets
can
to see in the dark,
cheese.
but it's all horse shaped, like everything
No,
you
no,
see.
no, no, no,
is
no,
just-
no. It's
Bear-shaped,
it's,
you
you
mean.
can see cheese through walls.
Ah, okay.
uh,
Has X-ray cheese, yeah. I could see
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Bree vision.
Oh my god.
Bree vision, outstanding.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh boy.
As you enter the mine, and let me see, do I have a good sound effect for this? I'm sure I do.
Boom!
Like,
Oh no.
no, you do not hear any booms as of yet.
Boom, boom,
Can you make
boom.
all our voices
I want
echo
you
at
in
this
my
point?
room.
I know, right? I wish.
Boom diada, boom diada, boom diada, boom diada, boom.
They call it a mine. A mine. Okay.
What's yours is mine.
This is
All
this
right.
is no mine. It's a boomstick. No, that doesn't quite
Oh,
work.
I know that one. I do.
Now I swear, the next one of you primates even looks at my direction. Okay.
Man,
So-
I am experiencing bleed today. Like, wow, Coriander's exhaustion is 100% very.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you come into the mine, it's a very nice. I can't think of anything cheddar than that. It's a very Gouda ability to have. Well done, Aridna.
That's not how you pronounce that.
That's
It's Gouda.
We're doing it to do the thing. That's all.
Gouda.
Wow, suddenly Hilnis jumping in with 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you, Hilnis. Getting an early start on the subathon on Friday. Thank you, Hilnis, so much. Good to see you, man. And welcome to Joe Breed, a Pencil Mage, Artemisia Player, Pebby, and Geister. Thank you, everybody. And thank you so much, Hilnis. That's really nice of you. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks. Okay. As you make your way in, we have about 20 minutes to go. As you make your way in, you and your granny, you light your lantern there so that you're able to see. But one thing that sort of strikes you as you're kind of making your way over is how dark it truly is underground. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Cal has had some experience. You'd have to tell me about being underground on occasion, but I feel like more of what Cal would be doing is probably above ground. But you could tell me.
Almost always.
Coriander and Granny and Titch, I don't know how much time you would have spent underground. Probably not much, I would think.
No.
But as you were, what do you think, Coriander?
I actually think Coriander would, I don't. She is a creature of, climbing trees and acrobatics and stuff, but she's also very curious. And so I can imagine that if there were, animal burrows that she saw and stuff like that she could fit down anywhere nearby, like a badger set and stuff like that, she'd probably have explored those. I think she's quite comfortable in underground spaces, but I don't think she's been in a mine shaft.
Right.
But I do think that, being underground and being in a close, dark environment is not troubling to her.
Okay.
Yeah, and there would be a bit of a difference between being in a burrow and being in a mine. There's a
Yeah.
whole lot more underground in the second.
That's
True,
right.
but there's also a lot more room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. The reason is because there is an effect that begins to weigh on all of you as you are underneath in this sort of uncanny darkness, even with the lantern. You occasionally hear kind of a clinking, the sound of maybe a pickaxe clinking against rock. You hear strange voices that you think are maybe hobbit miners at times, but then it sort of fades away, the voices, and then they appear behind you. Occasionally there is there is a laughter, sort of a peal of laughter that seems to come right at your very shoulder, and you all kind of but then you realize that it must have been echoing down, one of the mine shafts, let's say. So I'm going to need everyone here to make charisma saving throws. Now, because of Coriander's experience being underground, this is going to be an easier DC for Coriander, but everyone is going to have a charisma saving throw because the dread of this darkness is starting to kind of weigh on all of you.
And
Oh,
saving
boy.
throws are not at disadvantage with exhaustion.
That is correct. Saving throws are not at disadvantage, right?
Is this where do we go?
Not need any shadow points. This is not Inga.
That's
This isn't Shadow, is it? Right.
This is Shadow, yes.
Uh-oh.
So I should have advantage.
Yep. Yes, you do.
Does everybody
Oh
have
wait.
Hobbit sense,
Oh, we all do we? Oh wait.
It's
Wait.
racial, but I don't know if everybody gets that or not.
Yeah,
Oh.
actually, let me check. I don't know. That's a good question.
That's a good question.
What is the skill or feature? I
Mine,
guess?
Hobbit sense.
Hobbit sense,
Okay,
and
could do.
it wouldn't affect obviously Titch, but
Yeah.
let's see.
Not have that written down.
Does whatever a hobbit does.
What that reminds me of, your description of hearing the voices, back and forth and everything, is seen in The Mummy, where they're walking through the underground thing and they can hear the roar, roar, and they all come around the corner at the same time and bump into each other, and they're like, and all the guns come up. And
Yeah, that's right. Good movie, The Mummy. Yeah, Hobbit. Yes, that is a cultural trait for hobbits of the Shire. So yes, all of you except for Titch would have advantage on this.
Oh great. Okay. Well.
Well, I already have an unnatural 20, so.
Yeah, I have a 12.
Okay.
14.
Save, not a check, Cal. It may be the same bonus, but
Doubtful.
It's
I
the
think it's
same bonus on saving
Is it?
throw. For me.
Oh, right. Yeah, at this point, yes, because of the
okay.
proficiency bonus is only 2.
All right, so so basically we have a 20 from Granny, we have a 12 from Coriander, we have a 14 from Titch, and a 14 from Cal.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, despite this, there's some comfort in being together, I would imagine, and that probably helps as you make your way through this great uncanny darkness, which is the second time I've used that phrase because it's directly out of Tolkien, and as a kid I love the idea of this uncanny darkness. All right, so to find Otho is going to take a few checks on your part. And so what I'm going to ask for, and this is going to be benefited by your skill, Cal, is an explore check. So you're going to be making an explore check for basically every hour that you spend in the tunnels looking for Otho. And I am going to be rolling a check. I'm not going to explain what happens. And I'm going to be sort of rolling to see what you discover and don't discover based upon what you roll. So, Cal, this is one where I think you get advantage on Explorer, right? Is that? I thought I saw someone using an Explorer before that.
Well, I was using Explore to try to gain an advantage for the others in the way down to the quarry bed.
Right, but you have Explore though, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Okay. So then,
so I think assume it would just be a straight roll. Here it is again.
That's right. Yes. So you're going to be making a wisdom check. So one of you is going to be doing this, and that would be Cal, presumably, because of the map making. So Cal, this looks like a roll for you.
Okay. 14 to start.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. As you are creeping along, a chill wind sweeps up the passage towards you. And as this is happening, sweeping up towards you, Granny, you have this hooded lantern, but the wind blows into, and the lantern kind of flickers, flickers quite a bit, and casts these fantastic shadows on the walls. Now, the good news is if you were all using torches, this would have been a bigger problem because they would have all gone out and you would have had to make multiple checks. As it is, though, you only have to make one check, but you do have to make one as Granny manages to get the lantern sort of relit. So I need another charisma saving throw. Again, not a check, so Coriander's not at disadvantage, and you all have advantage on this except for Titch, because again, this is a shadow thing.
Okay.
And that's why you invest in lanterns. Charisma save, yeah?
Mm-hmm, that's right. Okay, so Cal's got a 16, Granny with a 17, Coriander with
Don't
a
even need
15,
any advantage.
and Titch
Actually, with a
a
16, because it's advantage, right?
Oh, I beg your pardon. You're right. Yep, sorry. 16. And Titch with a 10. You'll be happy to know, Titch, that you needed a 10. So you did manage to resist. And soon enough, the lights are sort of relit. The lantern is relit again as you continue with this, this chill wind. Another Explorer check, please, Cal.
Okay.
So when we find Otho, he's like gonna have turned into like a shadow wraith.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have to kill him, right? Because he definitely does not
I
then
don't
show up any point later in the story, right?
I don't think that's how that
He's like a
works.
mind white at this point instead of a barrel white.
Yeah, exactly.
Quarry
okay.
white.
So you are walking along the passageway when the light from Granny's lantern falls on something troubling. And as you sort of look more closely, you can all see that this is you see what looks like a broken pickaxe, a torn piece of cloth, and a stain on the wall, perhaps a smear of blood. I need another charisma saving throw.
Oh my
from
God.
Does it spell out red rum?
It does not.
Does it spell out live, laugh, love?
No.
Live, slaughter, love.
Granny with a 16. Cal with a 16. Titch with a 10. And Coriander with an 18.
Just
Okay.
barely holding it together.
Just, yeah,
People
Titch is
going
like,
around.
I'm fine. Okay. Okay. One more explore check, Cal. Let's see how we're doing. And by the way, while we're doing this, I am adjusting the die roll on my end every time based upon what's happening with these checks and so on. So, in case people are curious.
By the way, just like despite the successful save with Coriander, absolutely like shudders a little bit.
I imagine.
Smear of blood and stuff. This is like it's like she's suddenly in a different genre. But yes.
We still have one final fellowship point
do.
left. I'm thinking we should use it here just for like a good result at the end. What do you guys think?
Well, we don't know what's coming after this, but
True.
We don't know what's coming right now either.
we don't know what's coming right now either. So, I'm fine with it.
Or we could just.
I'd save it.
All right, we'll use it.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. So let me just mark that down. Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, 12 is better than 10, right? Okay. You see as you are walking a flickering flame, not yours, casting jagged shadows at the end of a passage that ends in a pile of tumbled rocks. And as you are walking up, you hear, "Ah! Ah! Get away!" echoing off of the rocks. And as you round the corner, just around the outside, you can see there is a lantern set upon a stone, casting long shadows over a terrible sight. A terrified hobbit is standing in front of a massive pile of fireworks, which are piled up at the blocked end of a tunnel. And he is feebly brandishing a shovel at this. Just a moment whilst I show you all what it is that you see.
Boss fight, boss fight, boss fight, boss fight.
It's a Balrog!
It's a Ruskabell rabbit! Oh no!
Dug too greedily and too deep. You know what they discovered.
You can pass, and we all run away.
Right.
You shall pass. Okay. All right. 1 second here. I will show chat as well. Nope. There we go. Right. Right. Okay. That goes up here and then goes down here and over here with this thing that is here and here. Okay. Right. Okay. Here you go, chat. You're going to see it, and players, you'll see this as well on the screen. On stream, sorry.
I was going to say, of course it would be on this.
On the stream. What you see he is brandishing his shovel against is where did it go? There it is. Okay, this.
The Steam logo. Awesome.
Oh, okay.
A goblin!
And he's screaming at what appears to be a gray, certainly Titch would know this, orc. And Otho, and that is definitely, you can tell that this is, you can pretty much tell, Granny, that this is Otho because you've seen Otho before.
Wait, Otho is the orc?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, very funny. And he's yelling at it.
I mean,
It's my
I knew he was
treasure!
ugly, but-
It's my treasure, you monster! Mine! I'll blow this to rubble before I let you have it! And
So he's a seagull.
on your arrival, the hobbit turns and screeches in renewed fright. And he goes, you've got it's going, and you can see him sort of his quivering hand is going towards what looks like a tinderbox. Meanwhile, this incredibly, sort of old, maybe even decrepit sort of orc turns and looks at you and then Get out of here. All of you. Get out of here.
And Titch bolts. His spear is ready and he's bolting.
Towards the orc?
Yeah.
For a minute, I
No,
thought you meant bolts,
towards-
like literally
I
runs
also
away.
thought you meant
That's what I thought you meant, really. Like, ah!
It just goes whoosh out. No.
That's like the
And-
thing where he like runs a few steps in the air with like a
Yeah, like the little dust cloud.
cloud.
Like, yeah. So bolts towards it. Now, what I think we're going to do, players, because I think this makes sense, is since we are at 6:54, I think it makes sense for us to put this on pause, and we will start with this next time, the encounter with this orc veteran. So the good news is you found Otho, all of his fireworks, which apparently are at the end of the passageway, and you just have to deal with this old decrepit orc and not blow up the mine. It should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the orc burned? You know, once
Oh,
No.
Is he particularly handsome?
Welcome
to,
back.
to Woodman?
Exactly.
Oh.
No, sadly. This looks like, and again, this orc, I do want to emphasize, just looks like ancient, like he just stepped out of the grave almost. He is not an undead orc, don't panic, but he definitely looks very, very old. And what the heck he's doing in this mine is beyond any of you. But we will see what happens next time, as Most Excellent Fireworks goes in a different direction than anyone might have expected, perhaps.
Correct. Correct.
Which has been lots of fun. I really, really enjoyed this a lot, and I'm very proud of the party for. I like sessions where we do have a number of checks where parties get to use their skills, and we got a lot of that from Cal and Coriander both. We got a chance as well to use some of those much vaunted fellowship points in case people were wondering what they were there for. This is what they were there for.
All of them.
All of them, indeed. Just in time for this climactic battle. And that was really great. And I loved seeing how they were going to figure out dealing with getting into the mine in the first place. So scary, living up to its reputation as being that way. I will start with the bottom right. I'll move in reverse order. So Trent, I'll start with you and with Titch. I really did think when you said bolt, I was like, wait, Titch is really just like he's just like heading out for the mine. I was just like, good God.
And that didn't occur to me at all. I was like,
well, because
wait.
your demeanor did not suggest that. I was like, no, you must mean charging them. But I was just kind of like bolts. I'm like, all right, well, that's the three of you will deal with this.
He's charging forward, but which of them is he charging at? Because they're right next to each other.
Oh, that's
so
a good question.
difficult to tell.
Yeah.
No,
Towards
he's
the
either-
fireworks.
Well, he's either going to, attack the orc, or he's going to disarm Otho and be like, get away from that,
Yeah.
Tinderbox, something. We'll see.
Yeah, that'll be something for you to think about.
I-
How'd you feel about the
the-
session today, and where will the fine folks find you next and all that?
Well, the Arudinel's comment about the drawing looking like Shaggy and Mr. Miyagi had a baby. For me, in particular, is especially funny because when I did my mascot work many years ago, I used to play Scooby a lot. So there's the connection to Shaggy. And when I worked on Adventures with Kangarati, I worked with Pat Morita, who played Mr. Miyagi. So it's
I didn't
like
know that. You worked with
Oh,
Pat
yeah.
Morita? Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
that's amazing. Okay, that's
yeah,
cool.
he was awesome. I had this really thick leather vest that I used to wear all the time, and there was a point where he's kind of like trying to do like a shiatsu thing between takes. I'm like standing there writing the information for the next take on the slate, and he walks up and he's like, "What the fuck is this, armor?" And I'm like, "Yeah, kind of." Yeah, and he was awesome. Too.
Yeah, everyone I've ever heard who's ever met him had said that he was a really nice guy.
My husband at the time, we were at a bocce ball place for the rap party, and Pawsey walked over to Pat and was like, "Hey, want to go outside and get stoned?" And he's like, "Hell yes!" And so they walked outside, and I was like, "All right, I'll see you guys when you get back."
Godspeed. That's awesome.
It was great. I loved today. I thought it was great. It's nice that we're going to be heading into an area where Titch can actually do his job. It's like, okay, this I'm good at. Okay, I can handle this.
Although this is going to be tricky because you're fighting. You want to be careful not to be just like, oh, just some fireworks, like no knocking over lanterns and all that stuff like down here.
Oh,
right?
that was exactly my plan.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I mean, maybe.
We won't have any need of this lantern anymore. Let's just knock that over. That's fine. Yeah, loved it. I thought everything was great. I thought, oh man, what was the point that that Coriander did something that just locked us all down with laughter. What
Oh.
the hell was it?
Oh, it was when she kept talking and Cal was like, and Cal was like,
That,
Coriander.
oh my
The
God,
best part of that is Brad constantly with Cal being like, Coriander, you need to listen to me. It was like the guy at Office Space. I'm sorry, you're going to need that. I'm going to need the stapler back.
Oh, God, that was my favorite part of today, was that interplay back and forth.
That was great.
Just awesome. And there was a moment where I was like, can she actually hear that he's saying her name over and over again? I was like, and it was, I just loved it. Loved it to
I
death.
could see it. I was just not like the Zoom, the Zoom's audio stuff worked in my favor at that point because I could see Brad was saying stuff and I was like, well, if I stop, I have to stop. But no.
It's great. Where will people see me next? Here?
On Saturday, probably. For the whatever we end up doing, whatever that turns out to be, which is to be determined.
Yeah, that'll be it.
And also, I think we announced this before. It has been announced before, but we'll announce again that Tren's Witch audiobook, Tren, has sold 10,000 copies.
Wow.
That was that one. That,
it was like it's the BattleTech
Decision of Thunderrift. It's the very
Decision of
first
Thunderrift
book ever written for BattleTech.
10,000
the very
copies.
first book ever written. Period.
Ever written of all time.
Ever.
Sold 10,000
Before
copies.
the Bible.
Before,
Little disappointing. It
before
only
we had
sold 10,000
Cuneiform.
copies. But no, seriously,
Yeah,
10,000 copies of that audio work is
The
great stuff.
audiobook
Tren,
is only sold. The print version's been around for 50,000 years, so it's sold quite a few more. Anyway, so that was, and according to John, continues to sell very well.
That's great. So congratulations on that, Tren, and thank you. And you can get more of that audio stuff with a little bit of an audiobook known as Gray Shade that Tren had something.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's got some interest to it.
Yeah, we've got this Gray Shade orc that we're fighting against. It's probably.
Yes, things went very poorly for our main assassin. But anyway, always a pleasure, Tren, and I'll see you on Saturday. And Tari, Granny's actually had several occasions here where, first of all, I love the idea. There was a part of me that wanted the insight check into Cal being like, you need to come with me to fail so that Granny would actually be running down with Kane frantically to get stuff. But actually, it had occurred to me that I don't know that any of you, maybe Coriander would know Otho. I'd have to think about that. I mean, we established that she did know Bruno, like the Brace Girdles might have met before as relatives. I'm not sure that she would have known Otho, though. And, of course, Bilbo and Balin are outside the mine talking to the guards, which means, Granny, you may have been the only one who actually knew for sure that this was Otho, although presumably you could take a good guess, I guess. So it was helpful to be able to have Granny's knowledge and wisdom in this particular case of this. Let us hope we do not need Granny's healing skill, too, depending on what happens down here. But how did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Well, this was great fun. And yeah, like Coriander's little verbal, how do you say that, waterfall highlight. And looking very much forward to the next session, which I assume is going to be the finale of the chapter.
Yes. For
campaign.
Sure. 100%. Yeah.
Unless we take 500 hours to defeat one single orc.
Yeah, if you take a while, then that's another issue. But no, we'll definitely be the finale of the Most Excellent Fireworks. Yes.
So yeah, very much looking forward to that. People can find me on Tumblr, on Instagram, and very newly also on Blue Sky. At Taritoots. And for those of you who don't know yet what Blue Sky is, it's basically Twitter without the musky stench about it.
Totally, actually.
Yeah. So come check me out there. I post my art there, cartoon, heraldry, and gaming stuff. So yeah, that's me. And
Good.
I'm gonna go to bed now because it's late.
It's late. Yeah, good stuff, Tari. Thank you as always. And you'll see Tari back here for the game book stuff as well.
Yes. Oh yeah,
illustration
that's
stuff,
true.
too. Coming soon, TM.
Next week? Did we have a...
We do not. We have not scheduled yet, so we will
Oh, we
figure
haven't
out.
scheduled yet. Okay,
but we will.
You'll tell me when.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night for now, Tari. And Brad, good stuff as well from Cal. A lot of this was really focused on, as it turned out, Coriander and especially Cal because of all the map making. I mean, the map finding stuff here was big time for the skill set that Cal had, it feels like to me. Not just because of like the negative cancellation thing, but pathfinding, various aspects of like even getting up too scary in the first place without getting lost because of the maps that have been made. So Cal finally has got a chance to let the maps finding skills shine. And as was pointed out before, it was absolutely hysterical the way Cal was just like, Coriander, you need to listen to me. You need to stop. You need to listen to me. It was very, very funny, and seemed quite narratively appropriate for Cal. And now, you found the person you need to find, and you just need to escape a decrepit orc and a pile full of fireworks and an itchy trigger finger and Otho, near those fireworks. It'll all be fine. How'd you feel about today's session, Brad, and where will the fine folks find you next?
I suspect there's more to this orc than meets the eye, but we'll find out next session. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. When you're making characters for games, there's a danger depending on the system and the GM that like a bunch of the stuff that you pick never gets used, right? Because it's so combat heavy or whatever. In this game system and Greg as well, you're good at like sort of bringing in other things, and the adventure, that we're going through as well. So it was fun to do, to bring in some of my other skills that I haven't yet used, that I sort of envisioned when I made the character. So that was cool, just to fold some of that stuff in. And just, it was in a way fortuitous that Coriander got so tired right in the beginning because it sort of fed the story as it moved along and stuff.
Yes,
and
a continual gift that kept on giving, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Like a pregnant cat.
Cool. Yeah, fun. I'm looking forward to the wrap up. I will mention I have coming up this Saturday, so the 30th, for anybody who happens to be in Wisconsin. I am at the Macmillan Memorial Library in Wisconsin Rapids, and you can find their website, macmillanlibrary.org. They have a calendar of events. There's a number of writing and book things. They have kind of a mini book festival going on this weekend. I'm going to be there for a fiction panel at 1:30, and then I'm doing one of my seminars that I gave at Gen Con, just one of them at this event. Just following, so at 1:30 and 3 o'clock. So if you are in the area, look that up and maybe stop by. Otherwise, I'll be back here.
Good stuff. Thank you, Brad. Yeah, and always a pleasure. I'm excited to see how things proceed in the next session. Last but certainly not least, Mal, I'm sorry, of course, that you were tired and so on, but it did sort of reflect the sort of narratively what was going on with Coriander, and it led to some very funny moments and appropriate moments too. And I give you credit for figuring out ways to kind of navigate around, the ability disadvantage with the benefit of the party helping you out and kind of mitigating that. I mean, that not just the fellowship points, but obviously figuring out when to inspire and sort of how to plan to approach dealing with that. And nevermore was that the case, obviously, than when you and Cal were going around the back of the mine to figure out, a way to get in there and find Otho. And you were sort of just like, why do we have to see it? And why do we have to go? And it's raining and it's cold. And seemed very, very appropriate from our usual generally cheery Coriander in these cases. But seemed very appropriate because of the fatigue that we were dealing with here. And again, you found what you need to. Now you just need to escape alive without the mine blowing up. How'd you feel about today's session, and where will the fine folks find you next?
Yeah, it was really fun. I think that with an unwelcome effect like exhaustion, it is really fun to just lean into it a lot totally. And just be like, right. Oh well, and it's been fun too to kind of explore the very I feel like with a character like Coriander, unlike River, who I played in a different campaign and stuff, Coriander is such a creature of instinct that I feel like I discover new things about her in different situations. Like, it made absolute sense to me that she would be exhausted in this rainy situation, because the last time she'd felt, to me, deeply sad and upset was the thought that Titch might actually like let her try to walk back to
Yeah.
Hobbiton, in the rain, in the dark and stuff. And I think that just, yeah, so the reconnecting those things together, it just felt like I didn't have to think about it. It was like, no, of course she hates being wet. She hates the rain. She hates the cold. And yeah, it was really fun to play into that and just kind of embrace that whenever the dice were going to be bad, it was going to be fun narratively and stuff. So yeah, it was real fun. Also, I just, the whole bit with Cal where he like had a really good plan actually to just be like, you can sleep, and she just couldn't let it happen because of, yeah, it felt like it felt so true to life and genuinely probably how I would be in that scenario personally. That was just very, very fun. Yeah, so people can find me next. I, as you mentioned, will be at CanCon. And one thing I want to highlight at CanCon is that this book here, the Book of Witches, which is out in the world, is an anthology of stories about witches. I have one in here. So does Fonda Lee, so does Primi Muhammad, and Millie Ho has a poem in here. And all four of us are going to be doing an event at CanCon at Perfect Books, which is a bookstore on Elgin Street.
Yep.
And we're going to be doing that event on Saturday night, Saturday at 7 p.m. at the bookstore. So it's a little ways off the, just like a 10-minute walk from the convention hotel, and doors open at 6:30 and stuff, but it will be really fun. We're going to do very short readings and then chat and stuff. It'll be an evening in conversation with us and then a signing after. So if you want to come hang out, that would be delightful. And yeah, that's the main thing. And I will be at the con more generally. I can't remember my schedule off the top of my head, but I will be posting it soon. So you can follow my newsletter to find more.
That's good stuff. Thank you, Amal. And yeah, actually just announced was that Brandon Crilly and I are going to be doing a signing after CanCon Sunday before I head home at Perfect Books. So we'll be there like from, I think, like 12 to 1:30 or something like that. Same kind of thing, like doing an event and then doing the signing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've never been to Perfect Books, so I'm excited to go there and check it out.
I used to work there. It was.
Did you really? Oh, that's cool.
I worked there for 5 years when I was in undergrad. It was like from 2003 to 2008, I want to say, I was there, and it was a pleasure and a delight, and it was half the size that it currently is.
Oh, that's cool.
Doubled, I think, I want to say last year or something like that. They took over a shop that was next door to them, so that's why they can do events in there now, and it's really lovely, and yeah, they're really great.
Oh, that's super cool. That's cool. I'm looking forward to checking that out. I'm looking forward, of course, Amal, to seeing you and the lovely folks up at CanCon. So that'll be great. And I'm looking forward to continuing this next month. But wonderful play today, players. Chat, can we get some love for the amazing players of Lord of the Rings role-playing Shire Adventures? Thank you so much to Amal Elmatar. Thank you to Brad Bollier. Thank you to our now hopefully sleeping colleague, Tari Tunes. And thank you to Trent Sparks. Good work from everybody, and we will see you back here in various places very soon. Bye for now.
Good night.
Good stuff. Yeah, so I am very, very pleased and excited about that. And I really enjoyed this again today as well. Again, we have had sort of we've talked about how the mode of this has been kind of lighter hearted, and still, I would say, even though this is sort of a darkened mine, it's still, I mean, it's a decrepit orc veteran, okay? Like, it's not, it is a threat to them because they're all level 2. Like, this isn't, some high level kind of party. This is not, the company at the end of Adventures of Middle Earth that was facing down dragons. But it is definitely a threat to them. And of course, they are also using other examples to be able to do some of this too. So it was great to be able to see them navigate some of that, and more of that is going to come as we finish this out. And we're going to have a bit of an announcement regarding this campaign as well, which I'll be talking about next month. So you'll definitely want to make sure that you are here and available for that. But as for me and as for today, that is going to do it for us for today. And the next time you see me is going to be Friday night Friday afternoon at noon Eastern. That's exactly right, Arudinel. Exactly right. The fact that he's still around here probably shows how strong he actually is. That's right. So at Friday noon, I am going to be doing our first ever subathon. And again, I want to just sort of quickly go through what the implications of that are. I've talked about this once before, but it is going to be happening on Fridays. The way this goes is as follows. So Friday at noon Eastern, we are going to begin. And from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern, that is set. I'm going to be playing Starfield, hopefully with some chat chosen decisions as a part of that mix. After 3 o'clock, every tier 1 sub or $5 Patreon pledge is going to add 10 minutes to the timer. And that will also include anything that's done. So like if I show up at 12 and people come in and give a bunch of gift subs, then we're going to add that stuff all up together. So every tier 1 sub and or $5 Patreon pledge is going to add 10 minutes to the timer. Every tier 2 sub is going to add 15 minutes. Every $10 Patreon pledge is going to add 20 minutes. And every tier 3 sub adds 25 minutes. Every $20 Patreon pledge will add 30 minutes. And so that once that's done, that could theoretically roll over to the following day. So if we get a lot of subs and a lot of pledges, which is what I'm hoping, then that would be able to roll over to the next day and have an impact on what happens on Saturday. I am willing to go up to 1 a.m. on Saturday morning, 1 a.m. Eastern. So I'm willing to go a grand total of, what does it work out to? About 13 hours, though I will take several breaks in there, of play. And I will do that, but the only thing that's set is 12 to 3. After that, it's dependent on chat and the viewers to keep things going. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also going to be able to have some giveaways and things like that to do too. On Saturday the 30th, we'll start again at noon Eastern, and we will run from 12 to 4 again with Starfield, but this is again dependent on whether or not we get the support to continue to go. Once we reach 4:30, we're going to be shifting over into an Infernal Salon. This is a group of authors who are going to be joining me, and I'm going to be announcing those authors in just a minute. A Deal Dash Lincoln Subway and Lemon Pledge. Oh, I hear you. That's funny. But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So Infernal Salon. The Infernal Salon, which is I've done one of these before. This is where a group of authors use prompts from the upcoming Negocius Infernalis game by Carlos Hernandez and C.S.E. Cooney to write a story based upon the prompt that they've received. And let me tell you, in case you're curious, exactly who is going to be responsible for this. Well, let's see here. Let me move down this way. Yes. So here are the people who are going to be part of this author list. We are going to have, starting at 4:30, first of all, Carlos and Claire are going to both be there, Carlos Hernandez and C.S.E. Cooney. And it's also going to feature the following 6 authors. So check this out, y'all. 6 authors. Primi Mohammed, known to you all based upon not only being a award-winning author, but also having been a part of Valorword in the past, so you know Primi. Marie Bilodeau, again, author, member in good standing of the Eberron Infinity and Beyond crew. So Marie will be there. Valerie Valdez, one of the members of the Strange Friends and Speculate, wonderful author and friend. And Valerie, of course, has also been able to be part of the Strange Friends and also was part of the Greyshade fundraiser before as well. Deborah J. Brannon, another author whom I have not had the chance to meet personally, but I am very excited to hear what Deborah comes up with as a part of this. Kate Maruyama, who I have met before, and who is another wonderful writer who's going to be contributing to this. And last but certainly not least, Martin Cahill, who I have also met. I met all of these people but Deborah, I think. Martin Cahill, who's going to be contributing to this as well as one of the authors. So Primi, Marie, Valerie, Deborah, Kate, and Martin are all going to be part of this mix. They are going to be writing based upon prompts that they receive. Now, while this happens, while these things are going on, there is other good news to be had about that, because let me just back up here to get to this thing so I can find it. Hang on just a moment. There we go. Right. So, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so every sub and Patreon pledge during the time of the salon, again from 4 to 7:30, everyone who is part of that pledge, sorry, did I say 4:30? I think I said, did I say 4 or 4:30? Wait a second. Hang on just a moment. 4:30. Okay, want to confirm. 4:30 to 7, not 4 to 7:30. So 4:30, everyone who contributes to this is going to get their fortune told by Carlos and or Claire as one of the cards from Negocios is drawn, and then a fortune is told during that time. So we're going to have a fortune being told for every one of those pledges, which I think is kind of a fun little twist to what's happening here. So that's going to be going on until we get to the end of this. And then at 7, once that's finished, once we're done with those pledges, also the authors will be able to work from those prompts as well. So it's going to give them more stuff to write about too. Then at 7:30, no, not 4 to 4:30, 4:30 to 7. 4:30 to 7. Then at 7:30, we will have the Infinity and Beyond crew minus Brandon O'Brien, because Brandon is going to be at Big Bad Con. But the rest of us, Marie and Jen and Tren and John, are going to be playing something with me. Now, we haven't decided yet what we're playing or who exactly is playing it. That is yet to be determined. But we will have those details soon. And once we have those details, we will let folks know what that's going to be. But it's going to be something awesome happening Saturday night, as I say, from 7:30 until probably about 10:30, somewhere in that range. And then we will wrap up the subathon with Starfield, and we will finish up with some more Starfield going into the night. So all told, if we get all of this stuff together, we could have up to like 22 hours of streaming on Friday and Saturday both. So it's going to be really exciting. And you never get news from that kind of thing. That's funny. You're like, I don't want to be part of that fortune. You know, well, I'm sure they would massage it in a certain way, but I totally respect that, Bruno. So anyway, I'm very excited about that. But the real reason that we're doing this is because it's fun for the community. I've never done a subathon before in 12 years of streaming. And this is the kind of thing that will give us a chance to build up both subs and Patreon numbers to kind of set a new floor for us as we move here into the fall and into what is going to happen next over the course of October and November and December. And it's going to be a busy and really fun few months. So you're definitely going to want to be here for that. So yeah, that is the plan. That's what we've got going on. And so please spread the word. It starts, remember, Friday at noon Eastern, and it's going to be Starfield all day on Friday. And then on Saturday, it's going to start with Starfield. Then we have the Infernal Salon. Then we have the special event with the Eberron, Infinity, and Beyond crew. And then we will finish up with Starfield. So that is the plan, and I am very excited about it. And it's great. And if people would be able to share what I posted on Discord, shared what I posted on Twitter and also on Blue Sky, if you are on one of those things, that would be lovely. Otherwise, simply let people know if they are online and you think they would be interested in this kind of stuff. That would be much appreciated. Nah, I don't want to play that, Hillness. I don't want to be scared. You know the drill. I like playing spooky stuff that's, spooky or like Halloween themed, yes. But like jump scare, scared. I just don't like horror games. I don't like being scared. So sorry. I will respectfully say no in that situation. But that is going to do it for me for tonight, though. I'm going to rise up on up. I have a little bit of work that I have to do, and I also need to go get some dinner. So I hope that everyone enjoyed themselves today. And if so, I hope you will follow the channel. I hope you will check out, let's see. I don't know if I have anyone right here. Yeah, I think I'm going to skip on the raid today because I don't have anyone in particular right now that is streaming that I want to jump over to do. So I think we're just going to wrap up for the day. So that's the jump scare is like 15 FPS. It's the scariest Snoopy Halloween. Yeah, but I'm a lightweight though, man. I'm a lightweight. That's the thing. If you like what you saw and heard today, I hope you will follow the channel. I hope you'll check out our YouTube at !ArvTube. Discord is !ArvCord. Twitter is !ArvTweets. Blue Sky is !ArvSky. Website, arvanelloron.com. Financially, !ArvShop for the merchandise area. Thank you, Triffid, for all these links. !ArvTreon is that Patreon. Again, that is hopefully going to get some bigger numbers after our subathon on Friday. And speaking of the subathon, also subbing to the channel, as Hillness was nice enough to do today by giving away 5 subs, which was really nice of Hillness. Those kind of gift subs are going to be a big part of it as well. That's funny, Bruno. But that is also going to be a part of the mix. And so definitely think about subbing, and the Patreon support would be lovely if you could do that coming up this Friday. Again, on the publishing side, Icarus is my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Library is my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment. And Greyshade is my Greyshade universe. Again, Greyshade and Renegade, the first 2 books in the Grey Assassin trilogy. That's available now, as is the audiobook of Greyshade from Trent Sparks. You can get that at that link. You can also pre-order Heretic, which is the final book in the Grey Assassin trilogy coming out next year. And you can pre-order the tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade coming out from Alligator Alley Entertainment and designed by Brandon O'Brien. It's going to be play-tested later this week. And that also is going to be coming out towards the end of... that's going to be coming out as well. So you can pre-order that as we speak. And again, being play-tested later this week at Big Bad Con, so I hope you will consider jumping on board if you're going to be at Big Bad Con and checking out that game. Last but certainly not least, as always, BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention, important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send a message that we will do so in the future for others who are in a similar situation. That's going to do it for me. You can see it's dark in here now, dark outside because it's 7:25, and so it's getting darker these days, and so I'm going to have to start putting on my lights to begin with. But I will see you folks on Friday at noon Eastern for the beginning of our subathon. Very excited for that, and please spread the word about it. Otherwise, thank you so much, as always, to our wonderful sponsors, to Free League Publishing for sponsoring Shire Adventures. More of this campaign to come next month. Again, much love to my wonderful mods, Dragon Spear, Hillness, Prince Justin, Triffity Mats, the best in the business. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and subscribers, Dragon, Hillness, Prince Justin, Triffid, Tilted Gaming, and Arudinel. And thank you again, Hillness, for all of the gift subs today. And thank you so much to my wonderful viewers. Thank you to 70 Villette, H. Videz, thank you to Amal, thank you to Cujo, thank you to Defective, thank you to Feels Good, thank you to Hindered Spirit, Jagtris, Jason, Light and Passion. What's up, Light and Passion? Thank you to Mark, to Mrs. Dunsel, Proxima, and T-Bank. And most of all, thank you today to my wonderful players. Thank you so much to Tren, to Amal, to Brad, and to Tari Tunes for being awesome. And I can't wait to have them back for more of this campaign next month. That's it for now, chat. I'll see you on Friday at noon Eastern for the subathon. Until then, everyone, please be good to each other. And bye for now.